Any given Sunday. Any given Sunday. That's what you get in the National Football League, is a game like you got last night. Now, here's the one thing that I will give preference to the Eagles in losing a shitty game like the Giants game one. I'd rather have my shitty game out of the way earlier in the year while I'm still trying to find my identity out. When you're battling for a playoff spot and you lay an egg like you did last night in Atlanta and you lose a game like that, that's criminal, man. You're looking for momentum going into the postseason. That's not how you gain it. Listen, like I said, I'm watching the game last night, and I'm like, the Eagles don't lose games like this. Listen, I get New York Jets a couple years back, and New York won earlier in the year, but when you lose a game like that last night to a football team that had nothing to play for, nothing, zero, they're getting ready for the April draft. That team had nothing to play for. You know, there were players that were playing for jobs. Remember, I told you guys this. By the way, please hit the like button. And Super Chats go to the top. Let me say this to you, too. Here's the wild thing about that Atlanta victory now. No matter what happens on Sunday or Saturday it is, between Carolina and the Bucs, if the Bucs win on Saturday versus Carolina and Atlanta beats the Saints, Carolina wins the division. The Bucs don't have control of their own destiny because of that win. Imagine that. That's the only thing you were playing for last night, was to create chaos in the already horrible NFC South. And they created it. And I am a proponent. I'm going to say it again. Having a team from the NFC South in the NFL playoffs is like having JMU or Tulane in the college football playoffs. For what? That's not the best teams in the NFL playoffs. Put the best 14 teams. I don't care what conference they're in. Fans want to see the best football. Division winners shouldn't assure you an opportunity to play in the playoffs. I mean, best teams should get in. You should play yourself in. I don't know. The NFC South has been the worst division in football since Brady left Tampa. I mean, they were pretty. Remember the year that the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl? They didn't win the NFC South. New Orleans did. So it was good when Brady was there. After Brady left, it was terrible. Let's see. Are you tired of trying to tell my friends that the Rams are so scary? We told you this all season while you honey glazed the Rams. Don't run. It's called accountability. The Rams are front runners. They stink. My friend, once again, if you think you have a more balanced football team than the Rams, you're high. Appreciate the super, my friend. Thank you. So it's the funny thing about the Falcons win, the Rams still have their first-round pick. Well, again, it may be the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in Philadelphia. By the way, the cool thing that I get all the time is now you have people and you have these glazed donut Eagle fans trying to tell me Stafford threw 3 picks last night. He's still the slam dunk MVP. He's still the slam dunk most valuable player. I mean, it's not a debate. He is going to win the most valuable player award. By the way, we have our all-pro team today. We also have our top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 teams. We'll do that. Coordinator spoke as well. Also, we got a question coming up here in a second. But, yeah, I mean, listen. Last night shows you. That was, in my opinion, an absolutely terrible loss for the Rams. And for whatever reason, and I agree with John McMullen, starting Michael Penix at the beginning of the year, this whole thing has been screwed up in Atlanta under Raheem Morris's time as head coach there. You give him $48 million a year, then a month later you draft Michael Penix out of Washington as your number 1 overall pick. You were never solidified at the quarterback position during Raheem Morris's entire time as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. You never figured it out. If you have Kirk Cousins starting all year long keeping him upright and keeping him healthy, you win that division. Don't you think Drake May for MVP? I think Drake May is going to be a great player. But I believe that Drake May is going to be a second, and he's going to be a close second, in my opinion. Okay? I think he's going to be. Guys, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Yeah, my takeaway from the Rams, obviously, listen, if people are going to use the excuse that Devontae Adams not being in that offense doesn't give the offense the credibility and the stability that they need to go into the playoffs, well, you're not going to win football games in the postseason. You got to close out games like that, man. This is your dress rehearsal. You're getting ready. I think it also speaks to a lot of what we said this year about the NFL. This is the land of mediocrity. There's really no spectacular team. I think it makes it, in a way, more exciting on who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, there's nobody that's above anything, and there's no team really that doesn't have a dent in the fender. Everyone's got a problem. Okay? Chicago, is it experience? Having not been there? Like I said, I think that's overrated. I saw the Dallas Cowboys, and I gave you an example. Dallas Cowboys kicked the living tar out of the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, and the Bills had gone to 3 Super Bowls, and they beat the piss out of them. You got better football players. You got a better team. You got a better quarterback. I don't give a shit how experienced you are. You're going to win ball games. Dude, this comes down to talent. That stuff, well, we played 4 years ago, and we've been to the playoffs 5 years ago. That has nothing to do with 2025. How in the world can you tie that in when everybody at the beginning of the year said this is a brand new football team? Even the Eagles addressed that by not using the word repeat or defending or whatever that thing was. Even they don't bring it up. You got a brand new football team. And quite frankly, those veteran guys that you isolate all the time have underachieved. Most notably on the offensive side, they've underachieved. The entire unit. Isn't it wild? You can have some guys with some pretty decent numbers. And then you turn around and you look at the unit. The unit is not performed well. I'm talking the offense. By the way, the new trends are out. We'll also look at that. We'll also go down the line. Do the trends really tell the story of the 2025 Eagles? So we'll go down that lane as well. But again, I'll give you my all-pro team a little bit later on. We'll get your thoughts on it too. Hit that like button. So here, do you believe that the Philadelphia Eagles need a dress rehearsal? Do they need to play their guys a little more this Sunday against the Commanders? Cowboys just waived Diggs. I saw that. A lot of money going to hit the cap there too. Okay? No, you're good. You feel comfortable going into a football playoff game with that offense playing like that? Really? Well, then how in the hell can you tell me coming out of the Raider game and Commander game, you guys felt like you had momentum going into that Buffalo game offensively? The Buffalo game showed me that the Commander game and the Raider game, it was fool's gold again for your offense. Your defense, on the other hand, I'll rest my guys there. Offensively, those guys need all the work they can get, man. Your center and your left guard are getting destroyed this year. Almost every single game, they've lost their battle against mediocre D linemen. You've really, if you look at the schedule that you've played, you really haven't played really great defensive tackles outside of Kansas City and I would say Dallas with Quinnen Williams. You really haven't played any superior defensive tackles. New York with Lawrence too, I would say. I'd throw that in there. So you feel comfortable going in to a playoff game with an offense that had 16 yards and total offense in the second half. Okay. So Patullo needs blame, but Kellen Moore didn't make Hertz elite. No, he didn't. Basically, what he did was he moved away from Hertz. He went to Barkley. He was covered by the run. I was one of the few people that said that Kellen Moore wasn't very good a year ago when it came to the offensive passing game, which he was brought in to do. Kellen Moore was brought in a year ago, my friends, not to improve the run game. You already have that with Jeff Stoutland. He was brought in to improve the pass game. He's a passing coordinator. When he realized he couldn't do it, they stuck with the run. What did he do in the passing game? I'll tell you this. If Barkley had the same year that he had this year, last year, Kellen Moore would have been fired. Okay? I mean, Saquon Barkley got him that job, not Jalen Hurts in New Orleans. That wasn't Jalen Hurts that got him that job. The Saints and Mickey Loomis, the general manager, saw that they pivoted off a limited passing game and went to the run attack, and they liked the fact that he could adapt, and that's what he did, and that's how he got the look at the quarterback down there now. He looks like a better pick, the quarterback they have in New Orleans, than Cam Ward right now. You think next year the Eagles will bring competition at the O-line into training camp? Depending on what they do in the draft and do it in free agency. I doubt that the Eagles are going to go free agency to try to bring somebody in, so they'll probably try to go through the draft to try to do their replacements. They've been pretty successful. And let me add this context. Do you guys agree with me on this? This is the worst Philadelphia offensive line since 2020. Do you agree? Do you agree that this is the worst O-line that Philadelphia has had since 2020? Okay, I mean, you know, that year you had garbage cans blocking for Carson Wentz. This year, they look like garbage cans again. Not to that extent that you had in 2020. The problem in 2020 you had no receivers and you had no O-line. There was no way they were going to win ball games in 2020. You really were kind of makeshifting things, and the whole thing fell apart based on what you did in free agency when you pushed all your chips in with the Chris Long class. And it caught up to you in 2020. Okay, that happens. Rams went through that. The Bucs have gone through that after winning Super Bowls. So again, I mean, this is kind of where you are now. Plus, style of play has played a factor here. Style of play has hurt the O-line and the run game. Now, Barkley has ticked it up a bit. I'm glad to see him go above 4-1. But again, we're looking at a guy who's Saquon Barkley. This is who he is. This is who he's been his entire football career. Okay, so again, hit that like button. So again, for me on the dress rehearsal, do I need to see a little bit of the starters playing on Sunday? I think you're in a tough place. Offensively, you're older. You're both tackles. And for the record also, I think you're older because of style of play. You can have a lot of young names and a lot of young ages that are there, but they look old. They look tired. Don't think playing 5 years in a row of going to the postseason has not taken its toll. Go back to 21. How many games was that? 21, you went what? One game? 2022, you went what games? You went 3 games, right? 3 games. Okay, that's 4. You went another game. That's 5. Then last year, you went 4. That's 9. You played half a season in the last 5 years with extra practice, extra preparation. You had an additional 9 games in the last 5 years. And now you're going to go into the playoffs here and you're sitting in a wild card spot now. That potentially could be another 4 games. You're going to play 13 games if you get to the Super Bowl this year, almost a full season. Look at Kansas City. They've fallen apart because of that dynamic. Hey, when you play longer, it affects your older players more. So you're caught in the tough place. Play your veteran guys. You know, a lot of people are telling me they should play some of the guys here this weekend. Well, you're older at both tackles. Your center and guard have been destroyed all year due to injuries. Your running back, for whatever reason, has been affected by the guys up front to where it's affected him mentally. Saquon Barkley has been affected mentally because of what happened a year ago. You know, everybody keeps telling me, I talk to Xander all the time on this. You know, he's just dancing too much. He's not hitting the hole hard. You know, well, something has happened here. You know what it is? He doesn't trust his offensive line. He's watching those guys get killed. When you're watching game film, folks, and you're watching game film, and you're sitting here and you're clicking and you're watching the game film, and you're watching Cam Jurgens get annihilated on one-on-one pass rushing, or you're watching him get killed on one-on-one blocking for run blocking, and you're getting murdered on first and second down, the running back sees that. He sees that. He's like, well, I got to try to find a space. It's affected him mentally on his approach and how he's approaching the offensive line. Saquon Barkley has lost confidence in the O-line. That's why you're seeing so many minus plays. That's why you're seeing coordinators do this. They're flooding the lanes. They're flooding the lanes because the running back doesn't trust the offensive line, and the coaches are starting not to trust the offensive line. I'll get into Kevin Patullo and Vic, who spoke today as well. They're just not trusting it. Okay, so again, you can't really play the guys. I think your defense has done enough to do this. Get this. I have more confidence going into the postseason with the defense than I would ever think that I would ever have with the offense. And you've got all your talented players and your money on that side of the ball. What's the secret to how the Bills made it to 4 Super Bowls? Deep roster. You didn't have free agency back then. Okay, Bill Polian built that roster, not just with the first 22, but with the first 53. Back then it was 47. And you couldn't go anywhere in free agency. That was a deep football team. You have to have a deep football team to get to 4 Super Bowls or to get to Super Bowls in a short period of time over a 5-year span. You got to have great rosters, man. Your top 22 players are not going to get you and win you Super Bowls multiple. What's going to win you multiple Super Bowls is the Oren Burks, the Isaiah Rodgers, guys like that are going to be able to step in when you need a guy to step in. And you just don't have that. Now, again, you don't have that across the lane because of free agency. By the way, you want to know why the NFL is in the position it's in? Free agency. You don't have dominant football teams. Why? Because of free agency. What was the one thing that New England did better than anybody in the league for 20 years? You know what it was? They moved off of players when they still had gas in the tank. I mean, the Milton Williams deal that Howie moved off of to let him go somewhere else. Belichick and Nick Caserio and Scott Pioli would move off of those guys when they still had gas in the tank. And they would get draft picks back. And they would be cheaper on defense and cheaper on offense. Stephon Diggs' contract, or Stephon Gilmore's contract would come up. What would happen? They'd move him. If you had a defensive lineman guy who was a great football player, they would move him. They would move out from him. They didn't wait until the guy had nothing left in the tank. They moved him when they had something in the tank. Kept him young, kept him cheap. That's how New England's secret sauce won them all them championships. Stay young, stay cheap. Stay young, stay cheap. Because if you're young, you're on rookie contracts. That keeps you cheap, where you could tool the other side of the offense. Plus, the one thing in New England to keep their longevity going, they never paid anybody but Brady, the offensive lineman, and Gronk. The rest of them were interchangeable pieces. Running backs, wide receivers, all of that. How much do you think Lane return will help? A ton. A ton. Fred Johnson's a good player. Lane Johnson's a spectacular player. I mean, You think of Lane Johnson as Phillip Rivers. Okay? Phillip Rivers came off the couch and he looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's what Lane is, still with gas in the tank. Phillip Rivers was playing football with very little gas in the tank, if any. He was going all off the knowledge of the game. He doesn't have an arm anymore. He can't throw the outs. He can't take the beating any longer. I mean, that's no gas in the tank, but he could still throw the ball around. Why? Knowledge. Howie Long made a great comment years ago about, just when you think you learned a game, your body breaks down. That's what happens to NFL players with longevity. And so with a guy like Lane going back in there, that's a monster move, especially if you got Jared Verse coming at you if you're in the opening round with the Rams in the wild card. Sills, why these bums want us to sign a washed Trevor Diggs? Trayvon Diggs, I have no interest in that guy. And plus, I don't believe he could play in Vic's system. I don't. He gambles too much. He's a freelancer. There's no freelancers on that secondary. Freelancers, they get pushed away. What was that guy's name? Rasul, what's his name? You had a guy here a couple of years ago. Rasul, what was his name? He was a freelance guy that jumped out of schemes. And every time he jumped out of a scheme, Jim Schwartz would go nuts on that guy. Rasul Douglas. He's a gambler guy. And sure, sometimes you're going to gamble right. With experience, you're going to get picks. But that guy would come out of his technique. And he would come out of the scheme. Every single one of those guys on that defensive side of the football with Vic wants people that play in schemes. Okay? Appreciate that, Pump. Seals, what do you think of offensive tackle from Utah, Lamalu? I think anybody out of Utah, somebody to look at. Kyle Winningham has done a great job there. He'll do the same job in Michigan as well. So I don't care about Diggs. I have no interest in Diggs. I never thought Diggs was good. I thought he was a gambling player that, again, one of the reasons why the Dallas Cowboys have struggled on defense is they have too many of those guys that jumped around blocks. So, all right, look, you're in a position where you can't rest guys. I'm going to rest dudes on defense. You know who I want to rest? Zach Bond. I might want to rest Jalen Carter. Hey, I'll tell you this. I'm going to take a look at the year that Jordan Davis had. The more you look at it, tell you what, man, he had the best year of any Eagle defensive lineman for the entire year from the opening game to this final game of any player, and that includes Jalen Phillips, who's only been here a short time. Now, Phillips' impact has been enormous since he came here, but it's been a short sample size. Davis has been the best D lineman on your football team this year. Some pretty impressive numbers, too, for a guy that's an interior guy, thought of as a two-down dude. Again, I think he got jobbed on the Pro Bowl for sure. Vic's words, they've been fun to coach. I heard that. That is so great a compliment. They're fun to coach. That's a great compliment from a guy like that. If I was rolling around the facility at NovaCare and I heard a guy like that, Vic Fangio, saying, hey, it's really been a pleasure to coach these guys this year. That means guys showing up to work. You put a good vibe in the building. Position meetings are fun. I'll make this comment to you, too. I bet it's a lot more fun showing up to work if you're a defensive player in Philadelphia than it is an offensive player. Because you know what you're constantly watching? Failure on offense. Not so much failure in the one-loss column. Failure individually. And I'm talking in the O-line. These meetings this year for Jeff Stoutland and that O-line must be brutal. The meetings for Clint Hurt and for Vic Fangio talking to the front seven must be so much fun. To see people getting better, to see impact players, there's just a better vibe on that side of the ball. On the offensive side, you got a wide receiver bitching. You got people complaining and throwing eggs at the OC. You got everyone complaining about everything on defense. No one's complaining about everything. And you got the coordinator saying this to you. What a pleasure it is to coach you. Hey, anytime, listen, what did John Tortorella tell you about coaching the Flyers? My wife and I know John Tortorella. Any coach, I've heard this by many coaches. Really, man, it's not really fun coaching these guys. John Tortorella said that to you about the Flyers. When you don't have a group that you have fun coaching, you don't want to show up to work. That's not fun, coaching people you don't want to coach or aren't listening to you or hearing it. But when you get a coach like Vic Fangio going, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to coach these guys. It's been a lot of fun. That guy doesn't throw like roses at people like that. That's a great compliment, man. Super chats to the top like this guy here. I love Mr. Hill. Thank you so much. Great take on the O-line. I agree. Last year beat them up. They played 21 games, but don't they have at least tried for the second seed for the extra home game? I would take safety and health over that 2 seed. Hey, why don't you do something for me, guys? Mr. Hill, I agree. But why don't you use that? Xander, what do you call it? Experience? Why don't you get back to being the Eagles? I don't give a fuck who we play. I don't want to hear what's better. Fuck it. Whoever's in that game at Lincoln Financial come Sunday, I'm going to beat your ass. What, you lost your mindset too? And you lost your balls? I mean, let's get back to what you did a year ago. Thinking you're going to beat everyone up. Picking and choosing who you want to play? Fuck that. You want to be the heavyweight champion of the world again? You want to put yourself in a mantle of greatness where you're multiple champions? What you think it was going to be easy? Act like it. Hey, you want to be back-to-back champions? You want to be like Ali and fight Foreman and Frazier back-to-back? You want to be known as the greatest of all time? Well, fuck it. What'd you think it was going to do? An easy road to it? I love how people who sit in the stands talk like that. Jesus criminy. I don't give a shit who you line up in front of me. Let's go play, man. Let's go prove we're better than you. Let's go prove what people are saying. This team has a chance to go back-to-back. Well, if I play this guy and I go here and I'm going here, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Give me a break. Dude, I don't care if you line the 85 Bears up. Act like it. This is when you take out the banners and you start acting like defending champs. I don't care who we play. If that were me in front of a microphone and I'm playing on the Eagles, I'd be like, I don't care who we play. I don't care. Rams, Seattle, Packers. It don't matter what the helmet says. You got to come to our building. Or I'll go to your building and kick the shit out of you there too, wherever you want. You want to play on the beach at Wildwood, I'll kick your ass. What happened to that? What happened to that attitude? I think you need to get your shit right. I think you need to get your attitude right heading into this bitch. That's an attitude thing, man. Who we play, who we might. I started listening to the radio shows in Philly, and I'm going like, who cares? Act like it. Take your ring out and remind yourself of who you are. Maybe that'll click it back in for you. Jesus, criminy. Well, if we play this guy, we got to go here. We got to go. I'd rather. You know what you sound like? You sound like the Browns. I'd rather take the 3 seed and play a really Rams team that are in a slump over them, potentially catching fire late in the postseason. I don't mind that attitude. I told you this. The best thing that could happen to the Eagles is that you got Matthew Stafford at 37 has to play 4 of these bitches. I'm sick and tired of your weak-ass attitude, some of you in here. You're the Philadelphia Eagles. You just won a Super Bowl. You're going for a fifth time in the playoffs, and now you're crying about or talking about who you're going to play in the opening round. Boy, you sure don't sound like a champion. You sound like an apologist or some bullshit. You sound like you've never been there. Man, unbecoming. That's how the Bears talk. That's how the Bears are talking. That's how the Patriots are talking. Come on, man. You get your shit together. It's nice to see JD get love from Shannon Sharp and Ocho on the Nightcap show. SS seemed pretty upset with JD getting snubbed by the Pro Bowl. I got his numbers here. We're going to talk about him a little bit later on, too. I think he also had a great year. More diving into it, too. From week 1 against the Cowboys in the opener on September 4th to where you are now. Right. Okay? Yeah, man. Get your attitude here. You need to adjust your attitudes. Rah-rah speech? I don't have to give a rah-rah speech when I'm the king. I don't need rah-rah speeches. Dude, motivated players and great players don't need some guy to light a fire under you. You draft and you recruit and you hire guys with fire. If I've got to get that out of you, those aren't the people I want in my room. Okay? Like I said, I use my reference point, Jimmy Johnson, all the time. Jimmy's a Hall of Famer at both levels, college and pro. He didn't have to holler at people. He just brought the right guys in. Play the Rams, take them out early, and get this. Let me ask you something. So if you beat the Rams in the opening wild card game, how do you think your momentum is going to be rolling into the next divisional game? Or maybe the NFC Championship game? Are you going to be the favorites to win a Super Bowl if you beat the Rams in the opener? 3-2. Everyone's going to be going like this. Holy shit. You know what you get? You get your Mike Tyson aura back about you. All of a sudden, people are going like this. Holy piss. That's what I want. I want people, when you throw your helmet on the field, to go, we're playing the Eagles. Right now, they're not saying that. They're saying, you know what they've done in the league? You know what the Eagles have done to themselves, actually, because taking players away. You gave the other teams hope by the inconsistency in the offense. You've given them hope. The thing what really is starting to frighten people is you're doing this. You don't want to recognize it. If you're a football player in this league and you're one of the teams making it into the playoffs on the NFC side, you're saying this shit. Damn. That defense is it's starting to have characteristics of last year. You heard me use the word characteristics? You don't want to use this. They're starting to look like they did a year ago. Because you know why? Inside your mind, you're like, holy shit, that might be as good as a year ago. I don't know yet. I think this is a mind game now. If you want to use your experience, use it mentally. Use it mentally. Because you know what you come out of that Buffalo game with? Okay? Do you know what you come out of that Buffalo game with? Holy shit. They won with no passing yards. They didn't get a first down. What happens if they get 6 first downs? Get your shit right. You guys are sounding like worms. My daughter's tougher going into rugby games. I mean, dude, when you're the champ, you want to play the greatest teams on the planet because you want to be the greatest. The only way to be the greatest is to beat the greatest. You can't beat tomato cans and call yourself the greatest. I've been listening to shows all day long, and they are wormy. Wormy. Well, if we play here, we go here. I'm listening to IP. well, if we get this team, we get that team, I'm like, who cares who you're playing? Line them up. Let's go. I'm the fucking champ. I'm the guy on the top of the mountain. I'll get it. Playoff seeding? Since when did that matter to you guys? By the way, I believe that's 90% of the people in that NovaCare Center believe what I'm saying right here. Fuck the Rams. Fuck Seattle. Fuck Chicago. Fuck them all, man. Dude, beat me. Hey, Rams, you know what I have the advantage over you with the Rams? I've been the bully on the block, and I've kicked your ass, and you're taking your lunch money the last 3 weeks. Every time you leave your house, I beat you up and took your lunch money. And if you're not careful, I'm going to take your girlfriend next. Says, I would like to play the Texans in the Super Bowl, so fuck. We are the Broad Street Bullies. Well, shit, stop crying about who you're going to play next. If I'm one of the other teams, I'm saying these guys can, with 0 yards and a half because of something, smothering D, I'd be shook knowing that I can't make a mistake. That's correct. Not getting one on 4th down, going for it, forcing the other team to make mistakes coaching-wise. You know what I've become? I'll tell you this. I tweeted this out over on my X account. I think the worst coach position in pro football right now is the quarterback position. It's the worst coach position in football. I mean, when I watch quarterbacks and quarterback decisions that organizations make, John McMullen made a great comment. I mean, you start Cousins, they win the South, Atlanta. Coaching decisions at quarterback it's the worst coach position in the most important position in football. It's the quarterback position, and you got the least talented people in the NFL coaching that position. The least amount. That includes your guy. Nobody hires first-year people to run a company. Nobody hires a first-year host to help a network get going. Nobody hires a first of anything. Hey, let me hire the first guy. Hey, by the way, Mike Shanahan, he was a bum with the Raiders. He gets fired with the Raiders, gets the head coach with the Broncos, goes back to back. Very seldom do you get a guy that's going to roll in there and be a home run first year. Very seldom. Okay? Very seldom. The worst position coaches in the NFL are the people coaching these quarterbacks. Look at the play. Look at the play of the quarterbacks this year. Look at your guy. No completed passes in 2 games in the second half. Is that Herz or is that the shitty play caller? I think it's a shitty approach by the head coach. I mean, the quarterback is playing great in the first half. You shut him down. That's a philosophical approach by the coaches. I mean, where are you going? Sills, where did the drop-off come from? Doing this. I'll tell you flat out. Head coaches, that headset that they have, there's three levels on the headsets that the head coach has. He could just listen to the offense. He could just listen to the defense. He can listen to both. Okay? And that's what his job is. And when the offensive guys start making and they have an idea, Nick will chime in like Jimmy Johnson did. No, we're going to run the ball here. Coaches have to change on the fly. All right, we're going to run the ball. Head coach wants to run the ball. The offensive coordinator doesn't make that call. The head coach does. How they're going to approach with a lead. That's his job. Every head coach's job is style of play is his That's the makeup of the coach. Nick's conservative. They play conservative ball. With this style of quarterback, he's going to play. If he had Phillip Rivers, it's going to be wide open. And if he had Phillip Rivers in the room, he doesn't have as much control of the offense. But he does when it comes to the philosophical way of how they're going to play the game. When you have experienced quarterbacks like Stafford and with Rivers, you lose control of the approach of the game because he's going to go to the line of scrimmage and control what plays are going to be written and what plays are going to be orchestrated. Very simple. That's why when Bernie Kosar told you exactly back in the day, quarterbacks came to the line of scrimmage and they dissected the team that they were looking at. They were dissecting it like they were like cyborgs. And they knew immediately where the guy was, and he would spot him and point him out and holler him out. 20, 20, 20. Wide open play on the left here when running a seam route. That's why when Montana used to come to the line of scrimmage and he would go, black 80, black 80. You knew that there was their audible. Shit, everyone in the offense, you could see the secondary moving back because they wanted to get deeper to create more underneath. They don't want to beat him deep. Style of play is from the head coach, not coordinator. Okay? It's style of the game is going to be from the head coach. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. No completions in the second half, and they blaming Patullo. No. Here, Patullo said it today. Where was it? Let me go to Kevin Patullo. I wrote down. I got cliff notes here. Kevin Patullo. Here. So you know, cliff notes on Kevin Patullo. Told me everything I needed to know. This is on Nick. He was immediately asked right out of the question, hey, what happened in the second half? We're working through things. Basically, he didn't want to answer the question. I give him credit for even throwing that out. Here's what he said. My takeaway was, again, funny, I hear something, and then I hear people commenting on what Kevin Patullo said, and they didn't hear anything. Well, here's what I heard. They're not winning on first and second down. The offensive line were too many times in third and long. He goes, do you know what that does to your playbook? It limits you on what you're going to call when you're constantly in third and long. It's limiting him. All year long, you've been beaten on first and second down. A year ago, you were destroying teams on first and second down. This year, you're getting murdered on it. So by the time you get to third down, that's why you got 3 and outs. You have 3 and outs because first and second down, you're losing. This is Kevin Patullo. First half was really good. He goes like this. He goes, you know, we're getting out of the huddle okay. But here's what I heard John and Xander talking. Do you know why? I'll give you a Jonathan Vilma. And Jonathan Vill told me why guys like Vic Fangio are just so good at being a coordinator. Why is Jalen Hurts going down to 5 seconds before he snaps or sets the line of scrimmage? Does anybody know? Why do you think he sets the line of scrimmage? Rivers getting to the line of scrimmage with 20 seconds left. He needs more time. You know why? He can't run. Hertz can move. Hertz is dual threat. He can escape more issues. Rivers can't. Brady can't. Manning can't. Here's why. Disguising of post-snap coverages. You're going down, you're waiting for that linebacker to go to the true coverage that they're going to. You're waiting. As a quarterback, you're waiting. You'll see the guys move pre-snap, slide to front, sets different protections. You'll see secondaries go back to 2 or 3 coverage. And you'll go pre-snap at 5, set, and you'll know. And get this. You know what a lot of teams do after when the quarterback goes set? They'll slide to different coverages. Post-snap, and then that's post-set. Then there's post-snap. Quarterback's got to figure all that out. That's why they're snapping the ball as close to that 5-second mark. He's trying to find the landmark, and he's trying to find his reference point in the secondary on where to go with the football. That's why you see a lot of guys go down to 5, set, and then you'll get a shift. What's the point of doing this? Getting to the line of scrimmage with 15 seconds left, and you go like this, set with 15 seconds. Guess what happens? The defense is going to be there at 15 seconds, and all of a sudden, prior to the snap of the ball, they're going to slide to a different coverage. And you're going to throw the ball, and you're going to throw a pick. Closer you get to the count where you snap the ball, where the clock, it favors the offense, not the defense, depending on who your quarterback is, though. If your quarterback's throwing Y's and Z's and no seams and no seam passes and no over the middle, and you become predictable, roll out right, rights and lefts, it favors the defense. You got 2 primary targets with an also guy with Goddard. And the key this year is you're not running the ball. Here, something else Patullo said. Yeah, he just said this, we're not winning first and second down. Right here. The plays we run, they become limited because we can't win first and second down. He's basically telling you the players in the O-line are getting murdered. Yeah. He goes like this. He said something about the experience of the playoffs. We're going to lean on that. Bro, I need to lean on you. So let me ask you something. You're going into the playoffs with a guy who's never called playoff football. And you got to rely on your quarterback more. Whew. Man. You can say all you want about Kyle Shanahan not having won games. Kevin Patullo's never called a playoff play in his life. How you feel about that? He's never called a playoff play. Well, you'll probably think that's nothing too, right? Yet you'll sit around and shit all over Detroit when they lose Ben Johnson as a coordinator. But Kevin Patullo has never called a play in his life in the postseason. But that's cool, right? Okay. We're going to find out. Okay? You got to rely on Herz. You're damn right you got to rely on Herz. That means you got to rely on Nick a little bit too. The least experienced person heading into the playoffs is your offensive coordinator on offense. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the least experienced guy on your football team? Xander talks about experience all the time. The least experienced dude is the dude calling plays. You feel all right about that? For an offense that sputtered all year. Okay. Okay. Well, you do have to rely on Jalen. And you'll be even more conservative in the postseason because of that. Well, what do you think? You're going to just start opening shit up with a limited play caller? Not only is the quarterback with limits, the play caller's even more limited. That's what you're going into the playoffs with. If you're talking to me and telling me how experienced your team is, Okay? Bernie told you, just because you sit in a room doesn't mean you're a play caller. You could be a wide receiver coach for 17 years in the NFL. And when you're given that duty, it's a whole different job. Just like going from a coordinator to being a head coach in the NFL. That's a completely different job. Hey, how many times in that Buffalo game were you guys, and I even said it, you're running zone reads, 3rd and 8. On your 45, 3rd and 8, and you're not throwing the ball. Hey, I know it was bad weather, but Allen played in bad weather too, and he wasn't shut out in the quarter. How are you shut out? It's not because you're quarterback. It's because your mentality by your coaching staff. That second half wasn't Jalen's fault. That second half was your coach's fault on how you shut it down. Get this, Kevin Patullo goes like this, and he fucking lies. We didn't go conservative in the second half. Well, dude, if you didn't go conservative, Kevin Patullo said today that they weren't conservative in the second half. Well, if they weren't conservative in the second half, that frightens me more, because if that's your mentality, you're not qualified to be an offensive coordinator. If you really believe that, I in no way blame Herz for the second half, especially after rewatching it. That's all head coach play calling, all that. They felt comfortable throwing it in the first half. Then they saw the lead. They saw the defense, how well they were playing, and they said, fuck it. We're not going to do anything to jeopardize that game. That's what they did. You know why? Play caller's inexperienced, and the quarterback is kind of predictable. Or wait, I'll take that back. The passing game's kind of predictable. They don't want to create turnovers or turnover opportunities. How do you create turnover opportunities in the rain? Throw the ball. What was the one turnover in the ball game that really was the game that really killed the Bills? A turnover by the quarterback. That's what killed the momentum. Buffalo was moving the ball. Totally killed the momentum. Rumor has it Shane Steichen and Ballard in Indiana are on the hot seat. Why? They lost their quarterback. I'm not sure what else they wanted to do. On the hot seat. Who are you going to bring in there? Shane Steichen, in my opinion, is the perfect coach for Daniel Jones. If you bring someone else in there, you better have Joe Brady in there, or you better bring a guy like Todd Monken in there. Because it's going to take a skill set to be able to coach that guy. By the way, I'd be very careful about firing Shane Steichen if I'm going to give Daniel Jones a 3-year contract extension, because I saw something with Steichen and Daniel Jones that I didn't see that Brian Daboll did in New York with him. You think you're really going to duplicate that again with someone else? That's an organization overthinking themselves if they fire Steichen. That'd be an amazing mistake by the Colts. It'd be an incredible mistake. So, yes, I mean, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys coming in here, man. Buffalo's not a very good, especially on defense, especially pass defense. Well, they're number 3 in pass defense in the league. And I would say this to you too, Barb. Well, if they're not very good on defense, they shut you down offensively running the football and shut you down completely offensively. You had 11 first downs in the game. So if they're not very good on defense and you think they suck, what happens when you run into a good defense like Seattle in the postseason? Seattle is a great defense. The Bills are not. So you're sitting there taking a shit on Buffalo. Now, wait a minute. Unless you're saying that, I get it. Okay? Unless that's what you're saying, I get it. Okay, I get what you're saying. That's not a good unit. They're 30th against the run. I mean, that's not a good run defense, and they shut you down. Xander kept trying to bring that point home today to John, but he didn't want to hear it. He made one of the most important comments all year long that both shows haven't made. We haven't taken advantage, and he's talking about the Eagles, of bad defenses. He's right. What bad defense did you take advantage of? New York, too? What else? Raiders? I mean, the Minnesota game was still a one-score ball game. What game did you take advantage of a bad defense? Okay? JD rubbing off on Carter in maturity and discipline. I don't think Jalen Carter is very disciplined or mature. Who said that? What do you mean? Where did you see that this year? If anything, Jalen Carter has been absolutely immature and undisciplined this year. He's had spot games. Played really well on Sunday. I've seen him where, guess what? He's been immature and he's been spotty sometimes. I don't think he's been mature or disciplined this year, to say the least. Jordan Davis has been the best lineman from week 1 to where you are right now. And I said it earlier, Jalen Phillips' impact has been enormous. I mean, here. Here's Jordan Davis. Yeah, here's Jordan Davis this year. Jordan Davis has 70 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 9 TFLs. It's fucking great. 70 tackles for a guy who plays majority on first and second down? That's a lot. That's doubled his number of any year he's been in the league. It's doubled. He's usually around 30. He's got 70 tackles, 4.5 sacks. How that guy's done on the Pro Bowl is, and he's got 9 TFLs. For those of you out, that's tackles for losses. Those numbers are spectacular. For an interior lineman who plays traditionally or thought of as being a first and second down, they're better than I thought. JD will have a C on his chest. Actually, he's turning out to be more of a leader than Carter. My book. That's a great year. Okay, that's a great year. Like I said, I'm hard on that guy, but I will give him kudos when I see it. It's a great year. He should be commended. I think the 5th-year option, it worked. If you're Philadelphia and you're Howie, you're happy that that worked. Them telling you, hey, we want you here. Here's the 5th year. We're picking it up. I'll tell you what. You know how you guys say Pro Bowl doesn't matter? Do you understand that if you get a Pro Bowl and then you talk contract extension, there's 3 tiers of this. You go to a 2nd tier, you go to a 1 tier if you're named all pro. You make more money in your This is why fans fucking don't, and you aggravate me sometimes. When you make all pro and you make a Pro Bowl, your next contract negotiation, you're at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and level of income that there's a floor and a base that you can't go below because of the collective bargaining agreement. But because Davis didn't make a Pro Bowler, and he's not, the Eagles get to dictate salary to him. He lost huge money on a 3-year deal because he wasn't named to the Pro Bowl. Don't ever tell me that making the Pro Bowl doesn't matter. It matters in every contract negotiation. Google it. If you make all pro or Pro Bowl, does it affect your contract extensions? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Look it up. It's in the CBA. You can go to NFLPA.com. Okay? Dude, Stafford is a slam dunk MVP. Slam dunk. One game's not going to throw that off. He still has 41 touchdowns and 8 picks this year on the season. You're fucking nuts. He's going to win it completely. It will be a little close. I want my guys to make the Pro Bowl and All-Pro. Yeah, because they add them up in the end. Didn't look like it yesterday. Welcome to the NFL. Hard position to play. I'm worried about the Super Bowl. Worry about the opening round wild card game. That's where you got to go. I was going to say Vic and Kevin Patullo, but let me go to Vic now. I didn't really write a lot down on Vic today. I love his answers, though. Oh, I heard one thing. The Hall of Fame, the finalists came out. Good to see two Canes once again are going to be considered for Hall of Fame. Frank Gore, third all-time in rushing, and also Reggie Wayne are being considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It seems like we have a guy every year now being considered for it. And can you tell me who this is? Here's a quarterback in the last 10 years of his career was 67 and 80 with 231 touchdown passes and 164 interceptions. Do you know who that was? This is the last 10 years of his career. From 2010 to 2019. Do you know who that is? If you guys are giving the kudos to Jalen Hurts on winning, in the last 10 years of this player's career, 67 wins and 80 losses, 231 touchdown passes, and 164 interceptions. Do you know who that is? That's Eli Manning. You think that's Hall of Fame? A whole decade. This guy was 67 wins and 80 losses. And still, he's got 2 MVPs. So does Jim Plunkett. Eli Manning's final decade with the New York Giants. He was underwater massively. Massively. And if you look at his first 4 years, he wasn't very good. I don't know. I mean, I'm with John. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. I think he had Hall of Fame moments. Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls, and he got an MVP. Where's he? Won Rookie of the Year. 27,000 yards passing. He's got more than Bradshaw. How come he's not in? Oh, I know. His last name's Manning. A full decade. He was on. Dude, Donovan McNabb is a better player than Eli Manning. Donovan McNabb was a better skilled player than Eli Manning. That's not close. But Eli's going to go to the Hall because you know why? You got Gary Myers and all the New York media guys, and his last name's Manning. If his name was Eli Smith, he wouldn't see the inside of a Hall of Fame. Philip Rivers is a better player. Eli Smith. Okay? Promise you. If his last name was different, he ain't making it. Not with that bullshit record. Hit the like button. Let me get the Vic. Don't forget. By the way, bottom of the hour, Angelo Cataldi will join us. Legendary WIP guy. Then we will talk to our boy Xander. That'll be at 4:30. Hit the like button. I thought he was streaky. He was a really streaky player. You get him in the postseason, he had a little Nick Foles in him, actually. So here was Vic. I didn't really write a lot down on Vic. He was asked about Jalen Carter. He said he played well. He did. He was also asked the question. I think John McMullen asked the question. And you know what I really liked how Vic answered this? I'll tell you why he answered it this way. John doesn't get a chance to really have follow-ups because everybody's fighting for a question when they get in the pit there and they're talking to the coordinators and they're talking to the head coach. I've been in those pits and I know how they work. I mean, you don't get really a follow-up. And John asked a question about Jalen Phillips and his impact that he's had, like on Nolan Smith or Jalen Hunt, I should say, and some of these other guys that they've had, his impact. And he's like, well, his impact has been at every level. We said that yesterday to you. I think Adoree Jackson's playing better because of Jalen Phillips. I think Reed Blankenship's playing better because of Jalen Phillips. We said that yesterday to you before Vic was even asked that. The whole unit is playing better. It's not just Hunt on the other side, which we knew he would be a beneficiary of having him. But linebackers are playing better. The safety position is coming around. Your corners aren't exposed like they were when you were getting no pressure. Your volume of pressure has accelerated since week 14. Well, what does that do? That means the route trees are less matured and getting up over the guys and behind the guys. You're not chasing any longer. You're in front of the play. You're not reaching for tackles. You're keeping the game in front of you. Vic Fangio wants to keep the game in front of him. When you start getting games on the angles or behind you, you got a bad defense. Like, what always kills me is when I see a guy with 150 tackles and his football team is like 8-9. Well, you must have been chasing the whole year. Unless you're somebody like Cleveland, who's like number 2 in defense. Schwartz is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. You could make the argument Jim Schwartz is probably one of the top 5 coordinators in all of pro football. If they move off of Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland, I would not get rid of Jim Schwartz. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be shocked if Schwartz got that job as head coach. What's the one what's the one thing that Cleveland is known for right now? D. 2 years ago, he had the number 1 defense. Right now, he's got the number 2 defense. Jim Schwartz ain't the problem in Cleveland. Jim Schwartz is what keeps you in ball games. Same way Vic is. Schwartz is a phenomenal coordinator. Again, great players. Ward, Garrett, all them dudes. There's no coincidence. Jim Schwartz 2 years ago won the Assistant Coach of the Year award. Number 1 defense overall on a shitty Browns team. By the way, real quick, if I was Kevin Stefanski, why in the world would I want to come back and coach in Cleveland? I'd want another opportunity to go somewhere else. I would. I do not. He's a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. You're going nowhere. You're going absolutely nowhere in Cleveland if you're Kevin Stefanski. If I were him, I'd get the hell out of there. I mean, where are you going, dude? He's too good a coach to be in that situation in Cleveland. And they may still land on Shedeur Sanders, which would be a massive mistake. Then again, I don't really see anybody in the draft that I really like. They were touting this draft was supposed to be one of the better drafts for quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't see it. He said Jahad Campbell played well. I thought he did. He really liked the fact that they're getting pressure with the 5 sacks. He said they really did a great job of keeping him. And you know what they did? They set the edges on Allen. Allen did not have those long outside perimeter runs the entire game. That must have been a focus. He never really broke outside. The 2 ends, Jalen Hunt and Jalen Phillips, played exceptional at keeping him inside the hashes. He never really got outside, maybe a few small runs, but he didn't. They kept him inside, and they kept moving him inside and kept him in the box. What happens when you keep him in the box? You keep him in the box like that, guess what it does? Pursuit comes to him. That's why there weren't really big running plays by Josh Allen in that game. Stefanski as OC Eagles here from the area. I think if he leaves Cleveland, he'll get a head coaching job somewhere. He's too good, dude. He's too good. He's a good head coach. He is. He's a good head coach. He's just in a shitty organization. So with Vic, end of the day, I think Vic was really happy with what he had. I like the way he talks about his guys. And really the coolest thing on the planet, though, was when he said, these guys are really fun to coach. Man, what a compliment. Okay? What an absolute comment. And what a great compliment you can hear when a guy talks like that. Is Vic the quarterback whisperer? He really does good against any quarterback, top quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks. Well, there's really been few guys that have gone for over 250 this year. Dak in Cowboy 2. I think Mayfield went for over 250, and I can't think of anybody else this year that went over 250 in that secondary. Kept everything underneath. Now, there were guys that had great run games, but there weren't really anybody that had really a great passing game outside of Dak and 2 when they came back from 21 down. Outside of that, they did a nice job on Mahomes. They did a great job on Stafford early. As I said, I think Mayfield had a few yards. The general manager of the Cleveland Browns, I think it's who you work for. Howie Roseman is not going to be a good general manager in Cleveland for a guy like a Jimmy Haslam. Howie Roseman's not going to be a good general manager for Woody Johnson. Howie Roseman's not going to be a good general manager for Stephen Ross. Those guys are terrible owners. I want to spend money. They're cheap. They quit easy, and they have no patience. That's why those teams, there's no patience. Sills, the thing that boggles my mind is the improvement of Adoree Jackson. And I look at our offense looking like our defense should have looked like this year. How about this, Mike? I think, Mikey, the reason why Adoree Jackson is playing better is because of Jalen Phillips. You're getting more volume and the improvement of Jalen Hunt. By the way, one of Big Sills, Xander reminded me, one of Big Sills' predictions was that Jalen Hunt would have more sacks than Nolan Smith. I may have even said he'll lead the team in sacks with 8. He's got 6.5 now, and he is leading the team. That pick that I thought was dog shit, totally wrong. Boy, that guy is just growing like a weed. I thought he'd be better by the end of the year, like we said early. I didn't think this good. He's starting to look like a guy. Like somebody, like a guy. Where you're going to be like this in a couple years. Hey. But here's the problem you have. Ask yourself this question. How much does Howie Roseman regard his first-round picks? And would he sacrifice moving Jalen Hunt because he took him 30th? Remember that. Howie doesn't want to be made to look bad by picking a guy like Nolan Smith and that not panning out. And he's a third rounder. Office politics plays into that. He covets his draft picks, especially his first round picks. Howie's not going to move off that guy. Okay? He's not. Now, and here's the thing, if you trade him, you couldn't get a 3 for him because of the injuries. You'd get a 5 for him. 30th pick, 2 years removed from the draft, a 5th rounder, that's a failure pick. That's a failure pick. So, nobody likes to look like that. You'll keep that guy like you kept Barnett for a while. You'll give him something, but yeah, Howie's not going to move off that guy, even though Hunt's a better player. Even though Phillips, get this. So here's what you have now. He's the third chick in the room now. Before he was like, the 1, 2.5. Now he's the third. You got Phillips to deal with. Now Hunt's getting better. And the only guy that's not is because of injuries and inconsistencies. He's not a bad ball player. Get this. Do you know how good Jalix Hunt is playing? Nolan Smith's not a bad player, but he's falling behind. Think how good that is. Think how good that is. He's falling behind, and he ain't bad. Office politics and the business of football plays into this. Okay? Seals, you've been on a burner today. Let's effing G. I love that. Those highlights you see with Brady and all that, right? Roseman is thinking 2 seasons ahead. Well, if we're talking about it now, Howie was talking about it a year ago. Correct. Yes. As a matter of fact, I wrote more down today about Kevin Patullo. Kevin Patullo said something funny, and it aggravated me. We weren't conservative at all in the second half. Bro, you're lying. Okay, if you weren't conservative, then you're saying the quarterback sucked. Pick one, dude. So his opinion is the O-line is getting killed on first and second down and the quarterback sucked. Is that how I took Kevin Patullo today? Isn't that how you took Kevin Patullo today? He blamed the O-line on not winning first and second down, and he blamed the quarterback for the second half because he said they didn't go conservative. So Kevin Patullo is now starting to feel some of the heat. Am I wrong? I thought the guy was talking out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, yeah, we're just not winning first and second down. What happened in the second half? Did you go conservative? No. We didn't go conservative. Okay? Then the quarterback sucked. And I don't believe that. There were drop passes and stupid plays. They were stupid. I watched the 22. They were stupid pass plays. Like high school shit. You're like, dude, a moron can read what you're doing. You gave the Bills 73 plays because of your incompetence. That's from Nick. I mean, but here's Jalen's fault. He buys into it. He doesn't complain, which is probably the right thing in the end. Sills, would a GM feel better on hitting on a third more than feeling worse than missing on a first? Also, I've never heard Bobo take any accountability ever. Yeah, he blamed the fucking guys today. The most successful round, Mikey, in pro football history in the NFL draft is the third round. Second round and then the first round. Because remember something. Each year, you probably have true first-round picks. 12? There's probably 12 really first-round guys. After that, you're kind of filling in gaps and needs. You don't really ever get 32 first-rounders. There's no such thing. And then, of course, you get the misses like Cooper. But you don't really get, like, there's no such thing as 32 first-rounders. I mean, just because they're taken in the first round doesn't mean they're first-round draft choices. Says, if you were the GM, what's your first move in the offseason? Addressing the O-line. Let me tell you this. My number one priority at the draft in the first round is O-line. 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 I don't believe Cam Jurgens will ever get back to the player he was. No way. Dude, you're getting beat on one-on-ones in run and pass. He is a stiff. Okay? I mean it. He's getting murdered. I mean, he's not even moving his feet. Seals, you really think about it, all these defense needs next year is a cornerback and a safety depth pieces. Offense needs to get younger. You need to fix that O-line, man. It's the worst O-line since 2020. He's going to go in the top 5 picks. You're not getting him. Now, maybe the left tackle at the University of Miami. I think Miami's got the best. This is why I like the Hurricanes against Ohio State. Miami's got the better O-line, and Miami's got the better front four. You got 2 first-round edge rushers at Miami, and you got 2 first-round offensive tackles at Miami. You know who recruited Penei Sewell? Does anybody know? Mario Cristobal. He was the guy. So I want to say this before I get Angelo on here. Let me say this to you, man. So today at the press conference with, as I'll use Angie's name, Bobo Patullo. So he was asked the question, did they go conservative in the second half? I just told you guys. You know what he said? No. Okay. So you're telling me then the quarterback sucks. And I don't believe that. And you're also telling me, you also said it earlier in the presser, you went like this. Well, we're getting killed on first and second down. So now you're blaming the O-line. So, Kevin, you didn't go conservative. You're getting killed on first and second down. Do you know what coaches are supposed to be? Problem solvers. They're not supposed to be excuse makers. And this is what you have. How can you look that brilliant on defense, then turn around and look like I'm looking at St. Joe's Prep? Excuse me, I'll take that back. St. Joe's Prep actually is a great program. So I'll take that back. Got to be kidding me, man. I thought it was an excuse machine today. I first and foremost want to do this. I want to send my love here before we bring Angelo Cataldi up. For the legendary Bentley Cataldi, I want to send my love out to him because we are rescue animal people here in our house. Every single guy, and by the way, the majority of the people in life are my animal friends. People, on the other hand, I don't know. He's the only guy I can trust is my Stevie. All right? Without further ado, I want to wish him a happy holiday and also a pleasant and a great new year here. Our heart goes out to him, and he's so kind to do the show here. Pre-New Year's Eve is our friend Angelo Cataldi. How you doing, Angelo?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Oh, good, man. I'm so happy that you were able to do this. So let me ask you here, man. Out of the game, what was your takeaway here from that Buffalo Bills game?
Wow. Well, the first thing is you mentioned my beloved, now late dog Bentley. I'm positive Bentley would have done a better job calling plays in the second half than Patullo did. Right. But that was remarkable. It was remarkable that they basically said, defense, win us this football game. We're done. We scored our 13 points. You go do your thing now. And they had 16 yards total offense in the second half. Dan, you got Jalen Herz, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Devontae Smith. How do you hold that group of talented players, let alone an offensive line that is certainly in the upper half this season? How is that even possible? How is that? That's one of the worst run defenses, the Buffalo Bills, in football. And you did nothing. You did nothing. So to me, the takeaway from what I saw was the Eagles won because once again, that horseshoe that is lodged up the rear end of Nick Sirianni. I mean, how many times does Josh Allen on that last play miss that receiver out of 10? 2, maybe?
Yep.
One. We saw the one for sure. You lose that game. Do you realize what the narrative would be this week in Philadelphia if the Eagles had blown that game because they had 16 yards in the entire second half and they finally gassed their defense to such a point? They were on the field over 21 of the 30 minutes in that second half. They basically found a way to make less effective the other unit and to totally do nothing with all that talent in the second half. People in this city right now, Dan, who think that the Eagles are an actual threat to win the Super Bowl this year are completely in denial for what they are watching every single week. They're in denial. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And this narrative, let me get this is the one that's getting in me now and grinding me up. All right. It's both Sirianni and his Bobo. It's never one thing. It's never one thing. Well, you explain this to me. You were a top 5 offense a year ago. You're a bottom 5 offense now. You've got mostly all the same players. It's one thing. It's the guy calling the plays. It's the guy organizing your offense. It is one thing. And you can try to deflect the blame as much as you want. You can't win with that man calling plays. You can't do it. And you're in denial because you keep finding fluky ways to win games, but it's right there in front of everybody. They're going to get burned. They're going to get blown out probably in the first round of the playoffs. I don't even give a damn who they play. They're going to play a good team, and they're going to lose 2 of them because their offense will fail when they need them to succeed. That's what's happening right now.
Here's my issue too, Angelo, going into this thing here. So if you're looking at, without a doubt, the most inexperienced person going into the postseason right now is the OC. The quarterback has the experience. The players have the experience. The offensive coordinator has the inexperience. He has the inexperience. Everyone else has the experience on that unit. That's a concern for me going in, especially when I hear this today. Angelo, today I heard actually from his own lips, I heard him say, we didn't go conservative. Well, if that's the case, then you're blaming the quarterback or you're blaming the guys because you're getting beat on first and second down. I think it was absolutely the play calling in the second half. And that also comes from Nick. Nick tells him, we're not going to be throwing the ball in the rain. Do you agree? Angelo, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't? Have you lost me?
I got you now.
You got me now?
Yep.
All right, Dan, here's what I took. See, I had a lot of experience interpreting what people say when they don't want to tell you the truth, but they sneak it in. And Sirianni actually did that. He actually told the truth on Sunday and especially Monday when he said, blame me for the second half. I should have been more involved. All right. He said that. What does that mean? It means the guy I've got doing that job can't do it alone. He never said that about Vic Fangio.
No.
Vic Fangio has saved his ass this year. All right. All of their asses, Vic Fangio has. But he literally says, if I were more involved, we would have done a better job, I'm sure. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. He's telling you, but the Bobo doesn't know what he's doing. He's saying it to you. But even that doesn't truly grab the scope of 16 yards with those players for a half of football. There's no way to grab that. That is inconceivable with that much talent that you gained 16 yards and did nothing with that football and had it for less than 9 minutes in the second half and won because the other thing was Sean, what's his name? The coach of the Bills, right?
Sean McDermott.
How dumb was that to go for 2 when you had stopped the Eagles offense the way you had in the second half?
And they were gassed.
You want Let's put it down to one play. You know who was thrilled by that? The Eagles were. Those defenders were going, thank God. Wow. Thank you, Carter, for swatting down the first extra point. You saved the game for us. It's damn, they're 11-5, and it's a miracle. Watch them play. They're not an 11-win team right now. They're not. They're winning games, either beating rotten opponents or fluky things. They won against the Rams because Carter blocked the field goal. This doesn't happen in a normal season. The record isn't what they are, and I think they're going to get exposed really soon, within a couple of weeks.
Vic Fangio, I want you to tell me, Angelo, with all the people that have gone through Philadelphia as coordinator, and this goes back to like, again, also, this goes to like Jim Johnson, this goes to Buddy Ryan, Bud Carson, and guys like that. I mean, you're looking at a 2-year. I mean, you could make the argument right now, Angelo, that I mean, the guy that's the most responsible for winning the Super Bowl of last year was Vic Fangio and Saquon Barkley a year ago. And the guy who's more responsible for winning football the last 2 years has been Vic over Nick.
Look, I've been doing this a long time. No coordinators ever had a better season on the Eagles in the past 40 years than Fangio's having this season.
Wow.
This season. You got to understand, you got to start from where they were at training camp. Half of his starters were sent packing because they didn't want to have sentiment rule their decisions. They were so desperate at one point, they convinced Brandon Graham to come out of retirement because they didn't have enough players. And still, they are the soul of the football team. And they took the Bills. I don't care about the weather. They took the Bills, one of the best offensive teams in football, and they held them to 12 points in their building. How great that is. Jim Johnson, you said it. Buddy Ryan. Look at all the great defensive minds the Eagles have had in the last 40 years. Not a one of them has done any better than what Fangio's done this year. This may be the single best coaching job I've seen in 40 years here. That's how great they are. Because they're doing it with all different players. And most of these players, other than the two big guys in the middle of the defensive line, most of these guys, who are they? Cooper DeJean is a great player, second-year player. He's the only guy who's ever taught him defense is Vic Fangio. All those young guys they brought in that created that great defensive secondary, Fangio trained them all.
How about this too, Angelo, with Jalix Hunt? I mean,
yeah.
Here's a guy that I thought a year ago was a third-round pick, who was a guy that I didn't think was going to be just nothing but a project, you know, for years to come, and we would see him maybe a couple years down the line. This guy's turning out to be the best edge rusher. He's better than Nolan Smith right now. He's more reliable and more durable than Nolan Smith. And then Howie Roseman, there he goes again. He parachutes in. He brings in Jalen Phillips, and he adds that guy to the mix. I mean, they're doing such a great job on that side of the ball. Why can't they duplicate that on the other side of the ball?
Because they have a moron running it. And his best buddy's the head coach of the team. Do you understand? This is the juxtaposition of these two units is not like anything I've ever seen. You have a defense with talent, but a lot of it is inexperience. It's young, and yet it's been put together and maximized beyond anything you could have hoped for defensively. Offense, you got a bunch of Pro Bowlers, all pros, great talents, 16 yards and a half. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And it's slipping past Philadelphia, Dan. There's nobody out there screaming, it's too one-dimensional. You're relying totally on your defense. What is happening with the offense? Why isn't it getting fixed? How do you assume? You should see people around here are going,
oh, I hear it.
We're gonna win the Super Bowl again.
No, I hear it every day.
And you're going,
I'm one of the only guys like you. We're one of the only people that are going like this. I don't think, Angelo, you can win 4 playoff games playing that style of football.
No.
I don't believe
I don't think you can win one. I don't. If you face the Rams in the first round, you're in trouble. The Rams played an awful game the other night, but I wouldn't count them out when they're facing an offense like that that's not going to put many points up. All they got to do is get into a rhythm offensively, and they're going to burn you. Look, Fangio has taken them farther than they ever could have hoped, given how they started this year. But this is going to end badly. And I'm telling you now, I'll make a prediction right here. They're one and done, Dan. They're one and done. I don't need to see the opponent. The Eagles are going out in the first round. I'll say it right here, and I'll be made a fool of again. The Eagles will lose in the first round, regardless of the opponent, because their offense is not functioning even close, anywhere near its potential. And it will burn them when it matters most.
Is it because of the coaching or the personnel or
The
both on
coaching.
offense?
The coaching, not the personnel. No, not the personnel. Barkley is effective when you give him a little room to run. They haven't schemed well. They haven't given him the room to run. They're either throwing the ball every play to A.J. Brown or they completely forget him. There's no consistency to how they use these players. There's clearly at the beginning of games, they're more effective than at the end of games because they plotted that out and they've used all the coaching staff to come up with a script, a philosophy that works until they have to adjust. And then the moment they have to adjust, I said it in my blog this week.
I read
The
it.
only thing that Patullo has convinced me he can adjust so far is his underpants. All right. All right. In all honesty, I haven't seen an adjustment the whole year that made any sense. So, yeah, collectively, they're better at offensive philosophy. But once it's in the hands of Patullo, he's even got that look on the sideline like he's, I don't know, like dazed. Get the thing out. Oh, I can't wait till we score so I can do that high five in the crook of the. Oh, I think I'm my frat boy. Oh, I can't wait for that. Oh, that'll be so cool.
Hey, what'd you make of Nick screaming in the hallway too when he
Oh,
was walking
let me
off?
tell you something. All right, I'm glad you brought that. I forgot that actually. So you won on a fluke at the end of a game, and rather than try to process what you witnessed, you get in the face of the fans. This is your priority. This is where you are. This is name me another great coach who did any of that crap on the sideline. Name me one great coach who ever was so. I mean, this is what I talk about when I say it's like frat boys. It's like, oh, I don't hear you talking now, boys. Are you? Ah, we won 13-12, right? I'm the offensive mind on this team, and we got 16 yards in the second half. In your face. Yeah, come on, huh? I mean, seriously? And where the hell are the people calling them out on this stuff? Where are they? Are they all dead now? Are they all afraid? Has Bob Lang called all of their bosses?
No.
And
They got appreciation day going on
oh,
for players over at IP now.
yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a
Yeah.
dinosaur, Dan, and you're not far behind me.
No, I'm not because I'm in the room with you here on this. So, Ansel, doesn't the only thing that keeps you and makes you feel that this team could still do something is that the rest of the league, every team has a
True.
dent in their fender.
True. It's an unusual year that way. You start to really believe in a team, and then they play like awful game.
Like
And you
last
start
night.
to go, is there a great team here?
Yeah.
Patriots have a great record, but they haven't played anybody. They got a last place record. They got a hell of a coach. Vrabel's a hell of a coach. He's my choice for coach of the year. The Bears have a hell of a coach. Ben Johnson's a hell of a coach. I don't know. Are they going to be able to translate that? They got a real young quarterback. If the Eagles had a semblance of competence at the offensive coordinator position, they would be odds on to win the thing. They would be.
Yeah.
They have all the talent and offense. They're just not using it. and defense is overachieving beyond anybody's hope. There, it's not going to happen, Dan. It's not going to happen. I've seen enough of this to know how this ends, and it ends when you go, "Wow, we played our worst game in the playoffs." No, you didn't. You played bad games all year. You got
Yeah.
away with it. Playoffs really, they kind of take the veil off and they show you for who you really are. And this team is, forget, I know the record's supposed to be the only thing that matters. It isn't this year. I watched every minute of every game, and that's not what happened here.
You know what people are saying too, Angelo? People are going to go like this. Well, San Francisco is a benefactor of having a bad schedule, and they're going to look at them and go, same thing with New England, as you just said. Well, again, if you're going to take that, what you just said, take a look at how the Eagles have won ball games, especially. I want to show you something. Outside of Liars Month in September, I believe now they're 7-5, and they've beaten 3 teams since October 5th that have had winning records. Okay. And it's been basically, it's been, like you said, it's been one side of the football carrying you. The defense has carried that side of the football. I mean, do you believe that they've done anything in the last 2-3 years when it comes to Jalen Hurts, when it comes to developing him? And have they hurt him as an offensive staff, in your opinion?
That's a great question to ask, because you watch him and you see the skill set.
Yeah.
It's still all there. It's still all there. He could still run the way he ran it first couple of years. He could still do that. He could still throw the ball to an open receiver and hit him in stride. He could still throw the deep ball with the best quarterbacks in the game. He's as accurate with the deep ball as there is anybody in the game. He's smart. He's a really good leader. You could see how he leads on the field. And it doesn't matter at all if the call into is hand the ball to Barkley and have him run in the middle of the field and run against the wall, and 2nd and 9, 3rd and 7, right? Now we're going back, and now they're blitzing, and now we got to get rid of the ball fast, and now we punt. That happened one time after another, 4 consecutive 3-and-outs in the second half. The talent has to be there. Every once in a while, they'll hit a rhythm, or they'll have a sequence of plays that they may have already scripted, where you go, wow, look at that. Look at that, right down the field. Nobody can stop them. And then, boom, it ends. Just ends. And that's where you know Patullo, in the moment, is calling plays. And some people, Dan, I have to tell you this. Some guys do that job that are born to do that job. They just instinctively know where to go and what spot, read the defense, plot a raven, scheme openings for players, pick plays, all of it, right? There's none of that happening with the Eagles. None of it. Do you understand? The Eagles are like football 101, and some of these better offenses are like football 505, the graduate course. That's the difference. Dan, this is so, I know how wrong I was last year. I'm not wrong now.
Let me ask you that. Okay.
Overrated. The Eagles are overrated because of the coaching, and they will get burned on that in a couple of weeks. And I don't say that with any pleasure. The best thing that happened to me in the last week was that Eagles win. I wrote on my blog that I was in this depression over losing my dog. And the moment that ball hit the ground, splashed into the ground, I went, oh, yeah. For a second, it's like, all right. So I'd love to be wrong here, but I am incredibly frustrated with how underachieving the offense has become. It's an embarrassment. They should be embarrassed that that's what they did in the second half with that talent on that field in that moment.
Let me throw that on top of this then. Have you ever seen anything in your life where you have an offense and you have an approach of an offense where you've seen a quarterback in 2 games this year against the Bucs in the second half? They were 0 for 8, and then they were 0 for 7. I mean, I've never seen, and win and win. I've never seen that, Angelo.
It's like 40 some years since that's ever happened twice in the same season. And those teams didn't win. No, none of those teams win. They're winning. But that's what I'm trying to explain. This is the outlier of outliers. This is, if you watch football, if you know football, you know how it usually goes. Well, a lot of that stuff hasn't gone that way this year. And the Eagles have benefited spectacularly from that. But the Eagles right now are playing like a 500 team at best, a 500 team. And the thing about the playoffs is you're playing teams that got through the whole thing and made it to the top group. They're going to beat you. They're going to beat you because they're smart. Their coaching is better than your coaching. And even though your talent is better than theirs, you don't know how to use your talent, especially on offense. And it's going to kill you.
Do you believe that the Eagles this weekend should play their starters, or do you think that they should rest their guys going into the playoffs?
I have never believed in resting, and I don't believe in it now. Do you understand? They got something to play for. The 2 seed, they could go into this thing the same way they did a year ago. 2 seed, right? But we're going to what? What are we worried here? Are we worried somebody's going to get hurt? You just got through 17 games. Again, good luck without losing any of your big guys. You lost Carter for a few games, but generally speaking, that whole offense that has done so little this year remained intact. Hertz never even got dinged the whole season. Barkley didn't get I think he limped off the field once in 17 games, 16 games. No, yes, you play. You know why you play? You play for 2 reasons. You, one, because you really need to win that game to give yourself a chance for the 2 seed. And 2, because you want to be 100% ready the next week and everybody be ready and try to work out some of your look. You're playing an awful team. The Commanders, they've got out their golf clubs. You understand? They've already got tee times. All right, they're done. When they get here Sunday, they're done. They can't wait to just get in the bus and go on their way to the off season. It's a good day to work on stuff offensively with your big guys and figure something out, so you don't end up with no points at 16 yards and a half.
Two last questions for you here, Angelo. Is this the worst offensive line that you've seen in Philadelphia since 2020?
It's yeah, but it will be better. The minute you put Lane Johnson back, you're going to be fine. Fred Johnson stinks. All right. And Steen is no good either. They keep telling me how good Steen is. He's not. All right. Jurgens is not having his best year, but he's been banged up. And Dickerson similar, and Mailata is still great. He's still no. It's underachieved this year, and a lot of that has to do with injury. But it will be ready. That is one unit that I have total faith in their coach and Jeff Stoutland. He'll have them ready for playoffs. That isn't going to be the problem. The problem is going to be the plays they call. The problem is going to be the simplicity of the offense, the lack of deception, the lack of surprise, the lack of creativity. Those are the things that are going to kill them. And then at the end of the year, this is the funny part of it, there'll be a debate about what to do with Patullo. You know?
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you, do you think he's back?
Well, here's the thing. They have gotten through 16 games shining this turd as best they could, all right? This is a big steaming turd, and they have found a way to keep telling you. Even that jackass the other day, Sirianni went, wow, I got to tell you, man, Patullo in the first half, he was really great. And the second half, I should have been more involved. So, just let that play around in your mind. If your mind is actually functioning, which is not true for most of the media in Philadelphia these days, the sports media. But if he's saying how great this guy was in the first half, but he couldn't do it in the second half without the coach, what is he telling us? That Sirianni was highly involved in the first half, and that's when they were good, and then he wasn't involved in the second half, and that's when they sucked? Is that what he's saying to me? No, Patullo somehow, even though it's been an issue all year, Patullo is not getting ripped the way he would 10 years ago. 20 years ago, God knows, there would have been a war. We would have marched on the Eagles complex. But 10 years ago, he hasn't gotten killed.
No.
His house got egged. There was a bad period in there. He stinks. Let me try to make this
Well,
clear.
let me ask
Kevin
you.
Patullo is awful.
Let me ask you.
Awful.
Do you think it goes down this lane? Like what you just said about Nick, it reminds me of this. Like you go and you're a student driver and you're getting your license and you're doing very well.
Right.
And all of a sudden your student driver teacher goes, hey, let me grab the wheel here.
Yep.
Is that kind of what we're doing here? Where the guy's like, he's in like his student driver trying to get his license. And Nick goes, let me grab the wheel over here because you're not really taking the curves right. Is that what
I love the analogy.
But basically, it's on-the-job training still.
Well, here's the problem, though. The instructor is not that good at it either.
He's not.
The instructor came in here and 7 games into his first season, he went, I'm not that good at play calling. I'm going to let the other guy do it. And he used all Shane Steichen for a couple of years. It's not like Nick Sirianni is a brilliant offensive mind himself. Listen to him talk. Listen to him talk. Just listen to the words, the rehearsed messages, the repetition, just the lack of ability to think on your feet and express yourself with some eloquence. There's only 32 of these jobs, Dan. Those guys, one of the jobs of a head coach is to be able to communicate effectively. I haven't seen it.
No.
I don't see it. I don't know. He's got an amazing record.
Angelo, tell me this. What has happened to the Philadelphia media, in your opinion, in the last 3 years? What's happened?
Well, I hate to use Bentley again for this, but shortly after we got him, we neutered him. We removed his testicles, and clearly there was a situation, I guess, where all these media guys were brought in, they were locked in a room, and then a vet came by, and he lopped some stuff off. They don't have, Dan, I'll just say it straight up. They don't have any balls anymore. They're afraid of the reaction in the locker room or in the coaches' offices or in the front offices when they say something critical. So now they go, Sirianni's an amazing coach. You go, wow, I got to get new television on my TV. He sucks. Clearly, it must be that. No, Dan, but again, keep in mind what I've said. I am a dinosaur. I am speaking right from the final years, the final cry of desperation of an era that's all but over now in Philadelphia. The era of criticizing million-dollar players and billion-dollar owners.
All right. My final comment to you is this. Angelo, if you were on the air and how you had to watch football this past weekend, where I needed to buy Netflix, I needed to buy Prime Video, I needed my exorbitant cable bill to be paid, and then I had to get Peacock. And this is the beauty of the NFL. They don't care about their fans any longer, do they?
They don't. And my favorite story of all that was Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime got a dog of a game, right? The Chiefs were knocked out, so it wasn't. So it was one story. It was very possibly the final game and the great career of Travis Kelce in KC, right? It was a big deal. So the game ends. It was a stinker, 2013. And Prime has the cameras ready to follow this story. At least I'll have this story. It's a nice, poignant story. And the guy's approaching, so they got the handheld near Travis as he's greeting people and doing a thing on the field. And Kansas City security told Prime to leave the premises. Do not in any way interfere with Kelce. And when they pressed it, it got it was like almost physical. They got in between them and they said, "Get out, get out." Amazon Prime, Dan, paid $1 billion for their NFL package, and they were not allowed to cover the only story worth covering on Christmas Day and the only game they covered. Now, so my question would have been, if I were on Amazon the next day, do we have to pay $2 billion? What did we have to pay where we could cover the one friggin' story? And I can't prove this, but I know a guy who never gave a damn for 1 second about any fan in any city is the head coach of that team, Andy Reid. And I'm just going to have to assume that man got to do a better job. The time is yours. That guy was the guy behind the decision to stick it to Amazon Prime for the only story worth covering. Yeah, it was a travesty. To answer your bigger question, it was a travesty, but I'm no longer shocked because Roger Goodell makes $62 million a year, and the only thing he cares about is lining his own pockets.
Absolutely. Angelo, we are going to say this to you in honor of Bentley. Congratulations on a great, great life with your friend there, too, because I go through the same things because we have our friends, too. And we still have remnants of our friends all over the house. Believe me, I have them all in these little boxes, and I look at my friends all the time, and I know it's painful to go through that sometimes. So, hey, thank you for doing this so much.
You.
I really appreciate
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for the kind words, and let's see what happens. Next couple of weeks are going to be fun.
Absolutely. Angelo, we will see you soon. Thank you, my friend. All right. Woo! You know, I don't know where to go with that. Okay? I mean, I happen to agree with him on, and I'm not so much talking about the beat writers. I'm talking about the people that are on air in Philly. And I'm not talking about any of our guys. Xander has been critical. He has been congratulatory. I think he's gone. And by the way, I think he's gone the way the team has gone this year. There's no take set in stone. I tried telling people that when we came here the first time. Your football team is inconsistent. That's why the takes this year have been inconsistent. Your offense has not been very good. It's been inconsistent. Well, what do you want them to say? It's been great? That's a lie. So 1 week when you're playing stiffs, this is why I don't go over the top. When I see a team like the Raiders or the Commanders, I'm not going to sit there and glaze donut that, because that to me is fool's gold. Because when you turn around and you don't have but 16 points in the second half against Buffalo, your offensive problems have not been fixed with the Commanders and the Raider games. Who in their right mind thinks that today? That your offensive problems have been fixed based off the Raiders and the Commander game. You watch them in Buffalo, you go, wait a minute, we got the same problems. Of course you do. You got the same problems. Nothing has changed. The one thing that I do dig with Xander, what he says, by the way, he'll be with us at the bottom of the hour. Well, I can't remember, Xander. How many weeks ago was it, Z? How many weeks ago was it? What was it, like 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Didn't you say this? Hey, I just got to deal with who these guys are. That's just fucking who it is. Right? Okay? Didn't you say that? Right? So, let's see. Yeah. So let me set this up here first. Let me first comment here on okay, so Angelo's made a prediction. They're one and done. Now, Angelo's got a perspective that, having covered the team for 40 years, on WIP and the most successful morning show radio host in the history of Philadelphia, not just sports talk, but talk radio, period. His opinion is that offense, and that's kind of my opinion, I don't think you can win 4 games like that. I think your defense is playing great football. It really is. Seals Battle Royale this week. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow yet. I got to wait until we get Z up here. No idea. Hey, I just show up. That's what I do. I just show up. Hey, dude, I don't blame Jalen Hurts. After watching the 22, I blame the coaching staff for shutting that secondary or shutting that offense down. I completely blame them because they were doing the right things in the first half. That was a coaching decision. That was a complete coaching decision. All right. I've got my all-pro team. I've got my top 10 NFL teams, and I also have my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL as we come into the final week of the NFL season. Big Z's got to come on here a little bit earlier because obviously running JAKIB here is a big task here. So he's got some stuff to do here. So instead of waiting until the bottom of the hour, we're going to do this here now. So without further ado, we bring in our friend, our man who's been, by the way, I liked it this morning. I watched it almost the entire show. It was great. Jeff Kerr, who I really dig too, by the way. I like Jeff Kerr's stuff. I do. I think Jeff Kerr throws some salt on the wound when he needs to at times as well. I think there's some fair and balance there when you're talking about that dude. And I actually like him and have respect for him. All right. All that being said, my friend, Big Z, Xander Kraus joins us now, and we appreciate him coming aboard. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Sills? How you doing, brother?
Hey, thanks for taking care of that echo on Angelo.
Yeah, that was tough, man. His Wi-Fi was way better there. That was good.
Yeah, that was good because we didn't get any.
Wi-Fi was great. I don't know what happens when the mics do that, man. The mics, because I can't control it. People
you think that's on his end?
It's definitely on his end, but I can only do so much. So I was just muting them out so you weren't getting echoed when you were talking.
Yep,
also, your loud ass doesn't help either. How loud your ass is when you're yelling, So good interview though, Angelo, man. You and Angelo, you guys love making these bold takes. That's what you guys love to do. One and done.
It's called having conviction.
Angelo, I have great respect for you, Angelo, for what you've done and what you've accomplished. That's a horrendous take.
Well, you thought Howard Eskin's take was shitty too when you saw that.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Actually, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You said, let's see how that. No. I'll give him credit. Hold on, folks. You know what he said? Let's see how that sounds in a month.
Let's see how that take ages, which we still have yet to see, but we will find out. By the way, top 10s were tough today.
Well, I think you got to take the whole year into account and not just the prisoner of the moment.
Yep.
Okay.
That's kind of what I've done with my quarterback list.
Well, that's right. That's right. Okay. I mean, people were prisoner of the moment last night. I heard them on your show today, and you weren't. But I think people become prisoners of the moment.
But I do think that Rams team has more chinks in the armor right now than they did earlier in the year. I mean, I think they were, confidence is a real thing. They lost to that Seahawks team, and they haven't looked quite as dominant since. So
let me ask you this. Okay, so you think they lost a little confidence after that loss last night. How much confidence do you think that offense gained coming out of that Buffalo game then?
Oh, none. But
so basically the Raider game and the Commander game was fool's gold.
Well, I don't know. Do you think players, I think players do take it differently than we do.
Oh,
Obviously.
no, what they'll do is they'll take the positive and go, we went up there, got no yards in the second half and fucking won. I would take it that way. That's how I would look at
that first half, and I saw some good things in that first half.
Super Bowls are won with 4 of them, though.
I know. I'm just saying, like you said earlier, what happened? Like, how do you go from having a good half of football to not completing a pass? Right.
Coaching.
So something's going on there.
It's not Herz.
Bro. I thought Herz played well in the first half.
I'm going to completely take my takes from the post game back on Herz. It is.
Hey, you weren't that hard on him on the post game.
I thought he played. I even posted it on my X. I said I thought he played really well in the first half.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, here's where you got to go. And I know people don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. The quarterback has to take some of it. It's just always going to be a part of it. If the Rams suck, Stafford gets some blame. If this is true for all 32 teams in the NFL, if your offense is completely stagnant for an entire half of football, you can't completely absolve the quarterback. Now, I don't think he was problem number one in that half of football, but it was weird how, like, because it's funny, like some of the throws he made in that first half were really good. I mean, that throw at 3rd and 4 I brought up yesterday to Devontae Smith, that was a great throw. That throw at 3rd and 10, rolling out to the outside, A.J. Brown at the sideline, that was a great throw. I mean, he had some really good throws in that game. So it was weird what happened in the second half, but I don't think they took too much confidence out of it, other than that you beat Buffalo in Buffalo late in the year.
I have to ask you something, and I heard this with you. You gave me a great open today. Bro, who gives a fuck who you're playing in the opening round? Fuck that shit. Seattle, the Rams, fuck that. Act like the champs. Act like, if you want to use your experience, Ander, what do you care if it's in Seattle, if it's at SoFi, if it's in Hong Kong, if it's on Mars? Bro, act like you fucking the king.
Well, yeah.
Why do you care who that is?
Well, that's for them. They can do that. They should do that. But that's not my mentality. I'm analyzing the game. I mean, there's paths that you can have here. There are better paths to the Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody says. I understand. You want to be like, hey, fuck that. Who gives a shit? I hope that the locker room thinks like that because you're a former player, and that's how the locker room should think. Me, go get the fucking 2 seed because if you want to go to Santa Clara, that's a much better road. Now,
I'd rather play the quarterback with the Now, listen, if I'm
that doesn't mean though you can't have that mentality of screw whoever's in front of you. But I'm looking at that 2 seed like that is food. That is Angelo will be so wrong on that round 1 prediction. He'll be up here like this.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what though. There is a point in me that would say this. I'd rather play the quarterback with the broken leg than the one not with the broken leg.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'd rather play Matthew Stafford than Jordan Love and the banged up Panthers. I mean, come on, folks.
All right, here. So what do you make of the playoff seating right now? Here it is right now. As of right now, it's Seahawks 1, Bears 2. It is Panthers or Bucks sitting in the 4 hole. You got the Eagles in the 3 hole. You got the Niners now 5. You got the Rams. It looks like you'd play in the opener, and then you got the Packers here. Do you rest your guys this weekend? Because if you rest your guys, there's a shot you might not win. I heard you and John say, well, we're going to beat them with our backup guys, the commander guys.
Don't you? I have
I don't know about that.
I have unflappable confidence in Tanner McKee, baby. Tanner McKee will take it to that squad. He will make Jahan Dotson. Remember, what did Jahan Dotson have in week 18? I think he had 100 yards last year in week 18. I think
he did too.
Yeah. Let me look that up.
I think he did.
By the way, not to my ADHD is kicking in, but I got to give this guy a shout out. All right. So yesterday, my pop was at the King of Prussia Mall returning a Christmas present. Okay, for one of my sisters. He was at the King of Prussia Mall, and one of the security guards. They have security guards outside some of the stores there in the King of Prussia Mall, and he had a Jacob Polo quarter zip on. And guy runs over, stops him, and goes, "Are you Xander Krause's dad?" And he goes nuts. He says he watches Me and You every day, and he actually had on his show or on his phone at the time the waiting screen for the National Football Show. So if you're out there listening, my brother who works at the King of Prussia Mall, thank you, brother. I love you and I appreciate you, man. So shout out to that guy. Now let me look up.
Absolutely. Dude, do you know how awesome that is when you're talking to people out in the public and you're like all of a sudden here, man? I can't tell you. I did that before. When you dropped me off at the airport, 2 women said something, "Oh, you're the Herz hater." And I'm like, hang on, I'm not the Herz hater.
You are the Herz hater. Own it, dude. What are you afraid of what your takes? That's your take.
No. I didn't.
That is your take. That's your take. When I'm out at family events or wherever, or my family's all Eagles fans. You know what they say to me? "Oh, fucking Sileo." That's you. That's what you are. You gotta own it, my guy. 7 for 94. Jahan Dotson had 7 for 94. with Tanner McKee.
So you think
Jahan
they win?
Dotson and Darius Cooper will cook the Washington Commanders.
What'd you make of Kevin Patullo's sorry ass today saying that they didn't go conservative in the second half?
Is he right?
I mean,
I
okay, well, that means then Jalen sucked.
No, that's actually not how I saw it.
Because I heard it's one or the other. Either you went conservative or the quarterback sucked.
I think it was more the offensive line, because I'll tell you this. All right,
he did say this too. Not winning first and second down.
Criticism. I give him criticism. That doesn't mean I try and criticize him. I rewatched that game, so I looked at some of the all-22 in the second half, and I'm not professing to be an expert at film guy. All right, I'm just watching it from my perspective. I think
you're very good.
First off, every single run play, the defensive linemen were in the backfield, which makes it very hard. Then you get into third and longs, because most of the drives in the second half, with the exception of one drive where they had 3 straight passes, most of the drives were run, incompletion, run, incompletion. 4 of the incompletions were throwaways. And normally I'll criticize Herz because, sometimes he struggles going through the progressions. There wasn't a soul on the field that even looked open from the cameras. Not one. So if nobody's open for him to throw the football, if the offensive line can't block to make a lane for Barkley or block people, in the pass rush, what the fuck is the quarterback supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Now, again, I think he has to shoulder some of it because he's the quarterback. But I don't look at that game and say, boy, Jalen Hurts is, I didn't think he was problem number 1 in that game. I really didn't. I thought Cam was terrible. I thought Landon was terrible. I thought Tyler Schoen was terrible. I thought the coaching was somewhat passive, but hear me out, right? If your offensive line can block and you get 4 yards or 5 yards on those run plays, and now you're in third and short, we're talking about an entire different.
You're blaming. If you're the coordinator, you're blaming the old line then for losing first and second down, because that's what he said.
But maybe he's right. Now maybe he shouldn't have done that, but he's right.
Said that today, I heard 2 things. I heard this. Patullo goes like this: when you're constantly in third and long and you're not winning first and second down, you're limited in your playbook. Okay, so you're limited with the playbook with a limited guy as it is, which means you have like 5 plays. Okay, so that means to me, the offensive line is getting handled. Pretty much the entire year, they've been handled. And then when someone in the pit asked, did you go conservative in the second half? Okay, he goes, no. Well, wait a minute. You just got through fucking saying that you went, if you're not winning first and second down, you're limited in your playbook. He's contradicting himself right there in front of the media.
That's fair. But you know what my problem with the second half was actually? It's not so much the play calls. It's not so much the, I get the offensive line was bad, but to me, like, the Bills were loading the box every fucking play. And this is where I question of, is Jalen Hurts, have they taken away his autonomy at the line of scrimmage? Or are we all have to collectively accept, if we're all going to shit on play calling constantly, then we need to make up our minds. Because we talk all the time about how Jalen's gotten more autonomy at the line of scrimmage to check and audible and do these things. And then we shit on play calling. Well, if the play calling is so bad, is Jalen free from that? Did he not audible into anything? Did he not check into anything? Or did he check into some of those plays? So to me, if you're going to go right to play calling, you have to include the quarterback in that as well, because they've made a concerted effort to give him more of that at the line of scrimmage. So the philosophy was no good. The running game was terrible. They were running the ball in the stacked boxes over and over again. I mean, dude, sometimes running the football in the NFL is a numbers game. Last year, the Eagles were able to, play 12 personnel. They had Johnny Wilson. They had Dallas Goedert. Sometimes they used a fullback, and they're able to run the ball down people's throats. This year, you're putting 8 in the box. You got 2 tight ends who can't block a fucking traffic cone, and you're trying to run the ball down their throat. There's nowhere to run. It doesn't matter if you have Superman himself, as Saquon Barkley as your back. He ain't running anywhere, man. It's a numbers game. There's too many people in the box. So
I think there's too many people on the mic in Jalen's ear. I heard something today that you guys said that, you know what? Explain this to me. And if John McMullen is correct, I understand why that there's problems in communication. You're telling me that and I knew this, but I didn't realize how many people were talking. So you got two offensive coaches talking to Jalen Hurts basically at the same time. You got Kevin Patullo and you got Nick Sirianni all the way up until the 15-second mark. So all the way up until the 15-second mark, then the thing gets shut off. So Jalen Hurts has 15 seconds after that to dissect what the coaches want to call, which puts him probably at 10 seconds. And if they shift out of something else, Jalen Hurts has got to do what? He's got to come up with a different audible. He's got to come up with a different play to audible out of that. What I think he's doing is I think he's calling the play and he's not audibling out. And they're knowing this. And I think you got too many voices in his ear. And you're not giving him enough time to dissect the fucking.
Well, did you hear what John said about that today?
No.
You would have latched onto that comment like white on rice. Now, this isn't my take, so save your bullshit hate mail, okay? I'm cursing up a storm again today. Sorry, Aunt Betty. Save your hate mail, though, all right? John McMullen said, them getting the play in, because you know how they get the play in so late? You know, the Eagles are bottom 5 in the league this year in breaking the huddle, not snapping the ball, breaking the huddle. The average time on the play clock when they break the huddle is 7.8 seconds. Now, think about that, guys. Lining up 11 men. You're telling me Jalen Hurts has time to audible? Now, this was the interesting part.
Audible and set pass protection.
Yeah, right. You can't do that in 7 seconds. This is why Phillip Rivers and even Caleb Williams are they're walking up with 19 seconds on the play clock. John said that's intentional from the coaching staff. They want to talk to Jalen in his ear until 15 seconds every single play, because that's when the mic's cut off. For those who don't know, there's a quarterback system, the microphone system. They can talk to the head coach and the offensive coordinator. When there's 15 seconds on the play clock, that cuts out. John said this morning they do that intentionally because they don't trust the quarterback at the line of scrimmage. I thought it was an interesting comment. It's not my take. I think you should give them more autonomy. I think you should get them to the line with 18 seconds left. I think you should give them every opportunity.
They coach him so poorly.
Dude, they coach him like they don't trust him.
No shit. This kid, the more I hear about the way that they coach this guy, the more I am not blaming him at all. I'll tell you what, man. That's why that RPO worked so well, because it gave Jalen more autonomy. Do you want to remember when Michael Irvin was on the program and he said, remember Chan Gailey had a system and he wanted the system to work. Remember when he had North Turner? North Turner said, I'm running this through you. Bro, they are so egomaniac on that side of the ball that they fucking get in their own way. And they're getting into quarterbacks. I think they get into Jalen Hurts' way.
Maybe they do.
Bro, what you just told me changed my opinion a little bit on Hertz. They're coaching him horribly.
Yeah, I mean, there's also other.
Bro, you're not teaching him the mental part of the game.
Yeah, but this is the problem with this. All right, and look,
I
really don't want to turn this into a bashing of the quarter, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But like, bro, aren't we past that? Like, we're in year 6, man. You're on a $51 million. Like, we're not in the teaching phase anymore. All right, I'm not teaching. What are we doing here?
Who said he was a quarterback savant to begin with?
I don't think he was. I said that to you yesterday.
He wasn't.
He's a wide receiver coach. Okay. Does this guy know how to develop a quarterback?
I'm talking. Who said that Jalen was a savant in the pocket? You got to teach. Now,
yeah, he's not. But he's not. But you're right. You got to give him the opportunity.
You got to help him.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I think they're a better offense when they're in hurry up.
That's right.
Because you don't got that bullshit in your ear. You get to the line of
scrimmage. It's him.
I mean, because I've seen Hertz make good checks at the line of scrimmage before, man. So I don't know. This is a weird offensive team right now. It really is. I don't know if it's Nick. I don't know if it's Kevin. I don't know if it's Jalen. I think it's a little bit of all of them. But, also, do you think that lack of trust is two-way? Like, I'm not sure. I would love to give Jalen Hurts some truth serum and say, what do you think of your coaches? What do you think of Nick Sirianni? Do you trust him?
I would hate my coaches.
I would too.
I
Not
would
my
hate my
style.
coaches.
Not my
Hey,
style.
Xander. Hey, Xander. You know, let me say this to you. Watch this. Hey, Xander, you know that one comment that you had and the one take that you had? This is what I would do. Hey, Xander, this is what when you hate a fucking PD like that in your ear every day, or somebody telling you how to run your fucking channel every day?
Nobody can do that to me. I hate that shit. That's why I didn't make it in school.
Why? Hey, Bo.
That's why I lived in the principal's office, Sills.
Hey, I hear you, man. Believe me, I got paddle marks on my rear end.
Yeah, me too. The nuns, baby, the nuns.
Hey, well, what do you think the quarterback thinks?
I don't know. I don't know what he thinks, but I do know that the offense is they really haven't found rhythm all year. And
they're not going to.
The best part about the team is what I said yesterday. I honestly believe what I said yesterday, and I don't think it has anything to do with Eagle-colored glasses. I mean, we're getting comments now. I can't win. Half the people are like, you're an Eagle hater, you're a fake fan, and then the other half are like, you got so much green glaze, you don't know what to do. I'm like, all right, dude, you guys are dumb. But the defense is incredible. The defense is suffocating. All right, they're playing the best brand of football I've seen them play. They might be better since week 10 than they were last year. That's how good they're playing. Dude, they're close. They're close. They're so damn physical right now. They had the Bills. That Bills team, man. That Bills team is a bully type of team. Well, they couldn't bully that defense.
When you watch the 22, what they did in that game to Josh Allen, you know what the key was defensively? Do you remember any perimeter run that he had whatsoever? Like, remember how many runs you saw him throughout the year just take off for 50 yards? There were like a handful of those runs. They kept the edges so well. By the way, dude, my boy Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, he's a boss, man. He's killing it.
But here, I heard you guys talking about that. Howie Roseman has a 30th pick on that Nolan Smith. Remember that?
I don't remember. He also picked Jalen Carter in that draft.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you this, man. We'll see how he likes them. How long did he keep Jalen Reagor?
4 years, 3 years, 3 years.
No, 3 years.
Not even. 2 years.
2 years. Well, that's better than I thought.
Dude, Howie will cut
bait. Didn't he move him into third year off season?
It's actually less about Nolan and more about, it is about Nolan.
Like, no, you're right. I didn't think Nolan's bad.
Yeah, but if Nolan became who you would want a first-round edge to be, you probably aren't trading for Jalen Phillips this year.
Yes.
How long do we keep Jalen Reagor? Let me look.
I think it was 2 years, and you traded him in the third year preseason.
2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, you traded him like before the season, the start of the third year going into that. Okay.
Yeah, we traded him or we cut him, I think. I forget.
No, you traded him. You traded him to somebody for a 7th rounder.
We traded him to Minnesota?
Something like that. Yeah,
that's what he played in 22, but
yeah. So that sounds right. Okay, so let me ask you this here then. Do you believe, Angelo, that you're one and done?
No, not at all. Not at all. I just watched the team get 16 yards on the road versus one of the best teams in football, versus one of the best offenses in football, versus one of the best quarterbacks in football, have 0 completed passes, and still win the football game. All right? It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win. All right? They can lose too because you've seen it happen with the Bears. You've seen it happen with the Cowboys. You've seen it happen with the Chargers. It's not to say they're going to win every game, but to sit here and say they're going to get bounced because their offense stinks. Well, explain to me the Buffalo game that just happened 2 days ago.
Okay. How good do you think that Buffalo personnel is compared to some of the teams you're going to play with personnel in the postseason?
Well, you tell me. They're the number 4 ranked offense in football.
Because of running.
They got 2 great tight ends. They got the best running back in the game, and they got a top 10 offensive line.
And they don't have a wide receiver on that team that's going to have over 800 yards.
They don't. And in that second half, we might as well have not had a wide receiver either.
See, I think it's wide open. I'm not
wide open.
I'm not convinced.
I agree, but I disagree with the premise that we're one and done because of how we look. We could be. I'm not saying we couldn't be. I'm not saying it's guaranteed we're not. I'm just saying I don't think it's as clear-cut as people think. People have been telling me all year, oh, same shit before the Bills game. The offense sucks. They're going to lose to the Bills. Well, the offense sucked, and they beat the Bills.
Do you think this is the worst offensive line since 2020?
Yes, I thought that was a great take by you. And 2020 is the perfect year. And then if you go further than 2020, it'd be another big gap because they were really good before 2020. Remember, 2020 which is crazy to think about. Brutal draft pick of Jalen Reagor. No weapons for Carson Wentz. Banged up, completely injured, derailed, and destroyed offensive line. And other key injuries as well, I'm pretty sure, on defense that year. And they fired Doug Peterson. 4 wins. But, man, that was a tough season. I mean, that was a tough season to win in with all the injuries.
I want to get your take on this one. Last night was a brutal loss for the Rams, and I'll tell you why. If I'm the Eagles and I have my shit show earlier in the year against the Giants, wouldn't you rather have that out of the way when you're 2 weeks away from starting up a wild card round? I don't want to have a game like that where I'm playing against a team. Xander, the freaking Falcons had nothing to play for. Nothing.
Yeah, but I like teams. Sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
No. What I'm just saying is that's a brutal loss. The Giant loss, to me, was kind of like a learning curve for this team this year.
Yeah, I agree. I like when teams are eliminated and they still fight. Like I know a lot of people
team too. The Dolphin team's still fighting.
What about the Saints? I mean, they what about the Falcons? Like you said, they won 3 games since they've been eliminated.
Bro, the goddamn quarterback for the Saints, he might be the rookie of the year on the all-rookie team and not Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't think Cam Ward's been very good this year. Now he's with the Titans. But look, I mean, the reason I say that is because I know a lot. Like I saw a guy in the chat earlier talking about this. Oh, I laugh at teams who win when they're trying to get draft position. And I'm like, to me, that's a loser mentality. It's a loser mentality. It really is. What does more for your program? Doing what Kellen Moore has done, right, in the end of this year, getting some key wins, getting some confidence in your quarterback, winning football, restoring winning to the locker room, or losing out, going 2-15 and getting a top pick in the draft. What do you think gives you a better chance next year? Some people might say, hey, it's that number 1 overall pick or the top pick. I would say the momentum of winning games. Winning is a habit. Winning is a lifestyle. Winning is a mentality. Something the Eagles are amazing at.
Yeah.
I think you got to get to that. But so that's my thought on that. But no, you're right to your point about, you can lose anybody. And I do feel like the Eagles have gotten some of their worst games out. But at the end of the day, that second half was as bad as any game we've played.
Yeah, but do you agree also with me on this? Too many people, and not you, but too many people after the Commander game and after the Raider game were telling me problems were fixed. No, they're not. I saw them again. And you lost some offensive momentum.
Don't you think at this point though problems aren't fixed?
No,
they can be subsided, and that's for every team.
Well, getting Lane back
in their special teams.
Getting Lane back and N'Kobe back, that's a personnel thing. That is going to make you better, dude.
No doubt. How good did Jalen Carter look last week?
He was great.
Yeah.
Hey, before I get to the top 10 teams, top 10 quarterbacks, I want to show you something here. I went back and I did some cut-ups. I had a friend of mine send me a cut-up. I'm not going to tell you in the Philadelphia Eagle organization who sent me some cut-ups. He sent me 15 minutes of cut-ups on a player. I want to read you something. I fucking almost fainted. And he goes like this because he's been watching, hearing me shit on this guy. And he goes, I want to show you something here. Let me bring it up here. So
I know who you're going to say.
So who on the football team has 70 tackles, 44.5 sacks, and 9 TFLs?
Jordan Davis.
And the guy asked me, he goes, how would you feel about that year? And I went, I'd cream in my pants if I had a year like that.
Relax, Sills.
I'm just saying. Dude.
Pause, Sills.
Pause. Hey, I learned that word last week. Bro, 70 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 9 TFLs? Hoss, that guy Jordan Davis has had a hell of a year.
Well,
he's doubled his tackles. Usually he hangs around 35. This guy's got 70. Overly paused. Relax there.
I mean, this guy's making it. Come on, man. Come on. That's a tough. I mean, now I don't even remember the rest of your question because you hit me with the most ultra pause of all time. No, I agree though on Jordan, and I think Jordan, unfortunately, Moro Ojomo's days are numbered in Philadelphia because that guy's coming
terrible too, man, because he's so good right now.
But we got Moro next year too. How good is our defensive line going to be next year? You're going to have think about this. You're going to have
and you're going to get depth in the and you're going to get depth in the draft.
Let's just assume that they're going to sign Jalen Phillips, which you can't make that assumption yet. I'm hoping they do.
You're going to sign that guy.
I agree. You're going to have Phillips, Davis, Carter, Ojomo again, Jalix Hunt back, and Nolan Smith will be back as well because his contract's not up yet.
I do have some bad news for you, though.
All right, let's hear it.
If you think you're going to sign that guy for $25 million, Drew Rosenhaus has got. Is
Rosenhaus his agent?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, let me just hook you up on something here.
Hey man, you've had an ACL and an Achilles. You want to negotiate? I'll negotiate.
You want us? Okay.
Oh, by the way, he should rest this week, regardless of what they do. He's already played 17 games this season, because he played.
Would you rest any of your offensive guys?
Remember, he never got a bye week, Jalen Phillips.
Oh,
I would rest because I have confidence that Tanner McKee will be good. I'm not kidding.
I pray to God he throws for 350 yards and he's 28.
He threw for 280 last year in his with the backups last year. He threw for he balled out in the preseason game with the backups. Now I know it's preseason football, but you're basically like you're playing a preseason team now with the Commanders. I think it's fine to rest them. Now, the problem with that is like you got to win the game. Like the Eagles should want to win this game.
Yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, am I right when I say this? I mean, you're trying to get the 2, right?
Yeah, and I know everybody likes the Sileo-ism of the hour number 1 where he's like, yeah, man, fuck who we're playing and fuck all it. Listen, that 2 seed's a much better road. You want to get that.
Yeah, but act like the champion of the world, man. I'm sorry. Give a shit, man. You can't go into a playoff thinking, well, I'd rather play on Mars than Venus. Fuck that. I mean, come on, man.
Well, what if your chance of death is 85% to Mars or as opposed to 40% to Venus? You'd be trying to go to fucking Venus. I don't give a rat's ass what you say.
Okay, well, I'll hook you up on one thing that I loved and I live by. If you got a plan B, Junior, you ain't got a fucking plan A.
I do have a plan A to get the 2 seed.
I don't want plan B.
I got a plan A. I got a plan A. Get the 2 seed. The Bears could lose that game. They're playing the Lions. I don't think the Lions are going to go down either.
Bears are capable of losing to the Jets.
Yeah, Forrest, thank you for having a fucking brain between your ears. He says, don't think Z's being pussy about it. He's a strategy. Thank you, Forrest. You know what I love, says? I love people who are like, Xander, are you scared? Scared what? To sit on my couch and watch a football game? No, I'm not fucking I'm not scared. I'm trying to get the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm going to name my all-pro team. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Stafford's the quarterback. James Cook is my running back. I have a ballot for the NFL PA and also the NFL honors that you see with that show. And I sent this in. Stafford is my starter. James Cook is my back. Jackson Smith Najaba, is that how you say it?
Njigba, yeah. Njigba,
Seattle.
yeah.
Dude, you see that catch by Puka Nacua last night?
Oh, my gosh, what a catch.
That's a catch, too. You guys are right. Stupidity with the league.
I'm not. That was John's take, not mine.
Puka Nacua, Rams. And Jamar Chase, Bengals. Tight end is Terry McBride, Cincinnati.
I'd probably put George Pickens this year over Jamar.
Pickens?
I'd probably go Pickens.
Left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. Left guard, Joe Tooney. The kid they picked up from Kansas City. Can you imagine if Kansas City had that guy still there? I've got Drew Dahlman, Chicago Bears, 2 Bears O-linemen, center. I've got them. That game against Philly impressed me, and that game against pretty much everybody they've played. They got one of the best O-lines in football. Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons. Somebody's blocking for Bijan. Penei Sewell is the right tackle. Here's my defense. My edge rushers. Myles Garrett, and Brian Burns, New York Giants. My interior.
Is he really the top guy this year next to Myles?
I think he's got 17 sacks, 16 sacks.
Holy shit, does he?
I think he's got 15 sacks.
Nobody knows because he plays for the New York Stiffs.
Yeah, let me double check that. I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw.
And by the way, make sure everybody factors that in on the Eli conversation.
Let's see here.
Sig, obviously I got that. Hoobity, what are you saying? I love that part. I love that part, Sig.
Bro.
Wait, by the way, make sure you factor that in on Eli. The Giants can't win a fucking game since he's gone. They've sucked every year outside of Eli. They blow. It's a trash organization.
Eli stunk his last decade.
Oh, was it Eli or was it the Giants who can't win a game?
I thought
what they have another 2 wins this year? The Giants blow. That organization.
Wait a minute. Okay, as long as we have that same mentality when we're talking about other quarterbacks that don't have the same winning percentage that Jalen has, let's keep that in perspective.
Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Okay, good. He's got a near 500 record too because he played with the shitty Lions for 10 years.
That's never been my take where you played.
That's my take on Eli.
My point is this, though.
He should be in the Hall. I think Eli should be in the Hall.
Bro, my point on Eli, though, is like, I mean, he was really good in 2 games. I don't really think he was a premier player during his career.
If Jalen Hurts wins another Super Bowl, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of him. He'll be in the Hall, too.
Well, how come Jim Plunkett isn't? He went 2.
How many quarterbacks
defense
in the history of the NFL have won more than 1 Super Bowl?
Jim Plunkett's got 2 and a Super Bowl MVP, and he's not in. Myles Garrett, Burns are my edges. Jeffrey Simmons and Chris Jones are my tackles. Zach Bond's my number 1 backer. Jack Campbell, Detroit. Bobby Wagner's my 3rd. My corners are Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley, Houston. My nickel is without a doubt Cooper DeJean. My safeties are Derwin James.
Give me Kyle Hamilton. I like that. I like that's pretty good all-pro team. Or pretty good team. I like it.
And I got Q second team.
I would have went a different direction in a few spots, but nothing crazy. I think overall you're pretty on par.
Okay, let's go. Let's do the top 10. Let's do the top 10 teams first.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
Okay.
This was a tough one. At least I thought it was a tough one.
It is. Because remember what I did. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. Okay?
I'm curious to know who you have number 1.
I'm not a prisoner of the moment here, okay? I'm going to start from 10 up. You ready?
Yep.
Number 10. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Number 9. I got the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 8. Making a reappearance. I got the Philadelphia Eagles at 8.
Okay.
Number 7, I got the Houston Texans.
Okay. We're close.
Number 6, I have the Bears.
Okay.
Number 5, I have the 49ers. By the way, I agreed with your take today. The Niners have momentum going right now.
Dude, I don't think this might be Kyle Shanahan's best year. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, that offense is humming, dude. Humming.
This is the first time in 3 weeks I put the Eagles back in, too. So let me do it again. Jags 10, Bills 9, Eagles 8, Texans 7, Bears 6, 49ers 5. I have the Rams at 4.
Okay.
I have the Broncos at 3. I've got the Patriots at 2.
Okay.
And I got the Seahawks at 1.
Yep. All right. So me and you have a very similar top 10 this week. All right. Here's mine. Number 10, I have the Bills. I just don't think they're that good.
I almost fucking put the Bills there.
I just don't think they're that good of a team. I mean, they are, but they're not at the same time. And I think you all know what I mean by that. Bills at 10. My honorable mention right outside the top 10 was the Chargers. They were 11 for me.
Chargers, that's what I had.
All right, 9. I'm going to go – I know this is kind of low here, but and let me switch that. Let me go. Let me go Texans at 9. I know that's not that high, but I don't like that offense at all. I'll go Texans at 9.
That's not terrible there.
I'm going to go Eagles at 8.
Okay.
I'm going to go Bears at 7. I'm going to go Jaguars at 6. I like that squad. Now, this is a major wrench, and all of you are probably going to get mad at me for this. But I've been watching the one team I'm going to say here very closely. And I think people are wrong because their big names are injured. At number 5, I have the Los Angeles Rams. At number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers.
You have the 49ers better than the Rams right now.
I got them right now above the Rams. Number 3, we have the same. I got Denver at 3. I got New England at 2. And I got Seattle at 1.
And by the way, how many of these 10 teams do you think have a legitimate shot to win the Super Bowl?
I don't think the Seahawks have any shot. They're my number one team.
I think you're
my number one team, dude. That guy ain't going to – dude, don't even sell me it. He's not going anywhere near the Super Bowl. Sammy Darnold. You and John have like a stiff for this guy. It's weird. Dude, he's not going anywhere near the bowl.
I don't think he's anybody, but I think if you're going to give Jalen the credit for winning, you got to give that guy too.
Oh, stop it. Jalen makes way bigger plays and bigger moments than that guy. I've never seen that guy rise up in a big moment. Never once in my life.
His second fucking year in the playoffs.
What do you mean? He got drafted 8 years ago. The guy's been a stiff in every big moment he's ever had.
Oh, so you're not dismissing New York and Carolina?
So you're giving Sam Darnold
Wait a second.
in the playoffs.
No,
Jalen Hurts is 6-3 in the postseason.
You dismiss organizations all the time. He was in the Jets in Carolina. When's the last time those teams have even been sniffing a playoff? You put him in an organization that they have good players and coaching around them.
Well, what about the 14-win Vikings?
28-6. This was his first playoff game a year ago. Look at me defending a guy who I think sucks.
Yeah, and by the way, week 18 for the 1 seed, he went pumpkin, and playoffs he went pumpkin.
And Herz went pumpkin in his first playoff game.
And then he went baller in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl. I get it.
Okay. Well, let's see what he does.
To me,
let's see what he does in his second playoff appearance.
Listen, there's a lot to say about Jalen, and not everybody's going to love him. One thing he's got playoff success. All right, I don't think the Seahawks can go. I think the Patriots can go, but now I got my eye on Stephon Diggs. By the way,
dumb.
Come on, bro. You could win comeback player of the year. You're on a team that could go to the Super Bowl. You got an MVP candidate quarterback. You're in the mix on a team that has completely turned the corner and has a bright future. What are you doing? Again, Stephon Diggs is caught up in legal bullshit from early in December. Can't these dudes just go home and go to bed? I mean, go to the treadmill at the place or whatever, and go home and go to bed, man. Save that for the off season.
You could say whatever you want to say about fucking AJ Brown, but DK Metcalf and Stephon Diggs ain't costing their teams. I mean, those guys are costing their teams.
I know.
Okay, AJ's not costing his team.
I think the Eagles deserve credit for that. You know, I know we have some players that, you know, maybe you want to see a little bit more maturity from Jalen Carter at times, but, you know, you look at the core of this team, you know, you got a bunch of mature, grounded dudes who handle their business.
That's
Jalen Hurts, I have never even thought in the world that it's possible that Jalen Hurts would be caught up in some bullshit. Same with, you know, Devontae Smith. Same with a lot of these guys. You know, I think the Eagles deserve credit. They get grade A professionals in the room for the most part. At least it feels like they do.
You're right. No.
I think the Patriots could, though. The Broncos, I think, could because they have a great D, and I think, you know, Bo's coming along. But the Niners, dude, if the Niners get the 1 seed, look out for that team, man. You don't realize if they beat Seattle.
You know, you've talked me into them.
Dude, if they beat Seattle, think about it. You lose Fred Warner. You lose Nick Bosa. You lost George Kittle for 8 games. Your quarterback was out for half a year. The coach of the year, in my opinion, is Kyle Shanahan.
Can I tell you why you talked me into it? Isn't this what happened in 17 to the Eagles? They lost star players. You lost your top Jason Peters. You lost a running back. You lost a top flight starting linebacker, and you won a Super Bowl. Isn't kind of this a little bit like that? A little?
It's fair. I mean, not perfect comp, but it's fair and it's good enough for me.
You lose major star players.
I just think Kyle is.
Yeah.
To me, look, there's a lot of good offensive play callers in the league. I mean, you have Andy, you got Kyle, you have Sean McVay, you have Ben Johnson. To me, Kyle is just watching what he does. And by the way, Purdy makes the throws. I mean, Purdy's limited physically from his size and the arm and stuff like that sometimes. But, dudes, you have to know how to read a defense, and you got to read it quick to operate in Kyle Shanahan's system. I mean, there was a throw he made the other night, that touchdown throw on third down late. I think it was Jawan Jennings who, kind of caught the ball in the middle. Yep. I want everybody to go back and look at the all-22, if you can, of Brock Purdy on that play. He lures TJ Edwards, the linebacker. You got trips right, 3 wide receivers out to your right. He lures the linebacker over into him, comes back, looks off the other backer, and just puts the ball perfectly into the middle of the field. Jawan Jennings takes that thing to the house.
Okay,
Brock Purdy is operating at a high level.
Let me ask you then: is that Kyle Shanahan coaching him, or is that Brock Purdy?
It's Kyle, but remember,
okay,
Kyle.
But then why can't Kevin Patullo and why can't Nick Sirianni teach those same fundamental skills to Jalen Hurts then?
Well, why you can ask the same question about Kyle Shanahan after he spent 4 first-round draft picks to get Trey Lance.
Okay, so then it's Purdy.
No, Kyle has a type of quarterback he likes. He's not going to look for a dual threat quarterback. It's not what he wants.
That has a certain skill set.
He wants a passer. He wants a guy that sits in the pocket, reads a defense, and throws the ball.
That's what he wants. One other thing. He wants a passer and a processor.
Yes, a processor. Maybe more important than a passer is processor.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Hurts is not a processor. Trey Lance is not a processor. And at times, Lamar Jackson's not a processor.
Well, and some of that's dictated.
At times, Josh Allen's not a processor.
And again, those players, it's dictated sometimes because they've been so athletically gifted their entire life. When you're Brock Purdy, guess what, guys? When you're growing up and a pass rush is coming at you, you're not running away. You got to process and get the ball out or you're screwed. You think about it. It's like a compounding effect. Like these guys, the only way to learn how to play football, the only way to learn how to get better, the only way to learn how to become a top back or top quarterback in high school, the only way to learn how to play Division I football, the only way to learn how to play in the NFL is from the pocket. Mm-hmm. It's a different style as opposed to Jalen Hurts. He goes to Oklahoma, Alabama, Channelview High School in Texas, the Philadelphia Eagles. He's running away from anybody who's coming at him. Same with Lamar, same with Josh, same with a lot of these guys. So it's just a different process, a different type of quarterback. But Kyle made to me very clear that he's not going to develop anybody. He wants a pocket passer. He wants a processor, like you say.
Top 10 quarterbacks.
Let's do it.
Number 10, Jordan Love. Number 9, Dak Prescott. Number 8, Caleb Williams. Number 7, Trevor Lawrence. Number 6, Bo Nix. Number 5, Sam Darnold. Number 4, Justin Herbert. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 2, Drake May. And number 1, Matthew Stafford. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. Guy threw 3 picks last night. He's only thrown 8 all year. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford's he's not very far down on my list. It's what sucks about this list right now? I don't like putting quarterbacks in who aren't even in the playoffs. But I have to.
You know what? The next list we should do.
It should be only playoffs.
We should be only playoffs because you know what? In some aspects, you should, how do you have a top 10 team, a list without Mahomes on it? but he's injured, so I kept him off.
All right, you ready for mine?
I think these lists this year have been so freaking hard.
All right, you ready for mine?
Yeah.
All right, number 10. Honorable mention, by the way. I have Jalen at 11, so he's falling right outside my top 10 right now. I got Jalen at 11. 10, I got Bo Nix. 9, I got Jared Goff. 8, I have Justin Herbert. 7, Caleb Williams. I freaking like that kid's game, man. I do. 6, Trevor Lawrence. I think he's playing good football. 5, Nad, where are you in the chat? Brock Purdy. 4, Josh Allen. 3, Dak Prescott, eliminated. 2, Matthew Stafford. 1, Drake May.
Here's the current MVP race. 5 is Herbert. 4 is Lawrence. 3 is Williams. 2 is Stafford. May's 1 right now.
Yeah, it's all that.
With 1 more game to play.
Drake May can play, bro.
I think you and me were one of the very first people that said when he came out.
Wait. Let me answer somebody in the chat. Z, stop it. Caleb has not played better than Bo Nix. HKP, once an Auburn Tiger, always an Auburn Tiger.
That's funny, man. I always have a hard time with Gators too, my friend. Hey, real quick before we get to these supers, and we're going to let you go here. Check it out. What do you make of this year, these years for these guys? This is probably not going to play the final game of the year. So here's Barkley's year. 280 on carries, 1140 in rushing, 4.1, 7 touchdowns for Saquon Barkley. Give me a grade on the year.
For Saquon?
Yeah.
B.
Okay.
He's still top 10 in rushing.
A.J. Brown, 78 catches, 1,003 yards.
I think he's capable of so much more. It's hard for me to give him anything more than a C+. I think that guy's capable of 16, 17, 1,800 yards a year.
Do you think they played Devontae to get him the 44 yards he needs?
No. They didn't play Saquon Barkley last year to set the all-time NFL record.
I will remind myself of that fucking spectacular topic. That's a great topic because 74 catches right now for 956. Both guys, by the way, were 12.9 yards per catch. Devontae had 4 TDs. AJ had 7. What'd you make it a year for Devontae? 74 catches and 956 yards.
He's wide receiver 2, so I'm happy with the yardage. I think that's about where you want to be. C+, B-, somewhere right in there. And I don't think these numbers, I don't think these letter grades are dictated a lot by them, by the way. I mean, they're in the run first.
No, they're dictated by the coaching staff.
Yeah, and the quarterback, and then the run first offense. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Goddard, 60 catches, 590 yards, 9.9 yards a game per game, 11 TDs.
B+. Like the touchdowns, great in the red zone, made some big clutch catches for Jalen Hurts. I thought overall more healthy this year, good in the running game, good at blocking, and I think he was a good outlet for Hurts. I'm going to give him a B+ this year. That's maybe a little, but
let's do the supers here, my friend. Then we'll let you go here.
Here we go. Philip, what's up, Philip? Agree with Z about Stiff Darnold. He's a joke artist. Okay. I like that, Stiff Darnold.
This will be the last year he had the 2 seed with the Vikings. This year he has the 1 seed.
Let's see if he's got the 1 seed come Sunday night.
Okay, I agreed. I'll tell you what. Did you see Seattle winning the number 1 seed at the beginning of the year? And do you think him not being in Minnesota has cost them a playoff spot? Not being there?
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, look at what Minnesota did when they left them. So it's a good point by you.
Well, I'm with you in the postseason. I am.
That's my problem. It's not that I think he's Lawrence. By the way, he didn't make my top 10 quarterbacks this year.
I saw that. Trevor Lawrence could have a football team this year to have the number 1 seed in the AFC if they win this week and they have a little help. They could be the number 1 seed, the Jags. You know that, right? Still.
Do you think you at large are maybe not giving the Eagles enough credit for what they did this year?
No, I think
if you allow me, I'll just
been
elaborate.
pathetic on offense, and I think the amazing thing has been your defense. I don't think I gave Vic enough credit for taking spare parts and developing players, and Howie helping by bringing Phillips in. Howie adding Phillips and Vic's coaching.
Can I just make my case?
I didn't give enough credit to that.
Can I make my case?
Sure.
You go to the Super Bowl last year. You play late into February. You're on parade floats. You're on The View. You're on every outlet in the world. If you're Saquon Barkley, you're flying around with the president. You're going to the White House. You're doing everything all summer. You come back. You have a first-place schedule. You have 0 back-to-back home games on your entire schedule.
Never seen that.
You have games on – you had a Thursday game, a Friday game, a Saturday game, a Sunday game, and a Monday game. 5 different days of the week you play football this year. And you faced some of the best competition. You played 11 teams last year who were playoff teams last year. And you're going to – now, again, that's not to say it's all perfect. I'm just saying to win potentially 12 ball games with that schedule, with a chance to get the number 2 seed coming off of what they did last year. I mean, I remember when the Rams won the Super Bowl, I don't even think they made the playoffs the next year.
No, they didn't.
Well, I think all things considered, I think the Eagles have weathered the storm well, have won good games, have won games that were tight and they could have lost. Now, the offense is ugly, I agree, but I think they deserve some credit for that, man. I think that's pretty important.
But I think, okay, if you want to go there, I think you dismiss the incompetence of the offense way too much. I did it
earlier. I'm just at a point now where it's time to. I can't.
You made that point 4 weeks ago, which is smart of you, because you went like this, Xander. You went, "Hey, dude, you know what? I'm gonna go." Because after what was it? The 4 post games ago, right? You said it. All right, let's do these. Let's do these.
I'm good, bro. No worries. Here's Cal. Sills Mitchell is not all pro this year.
Second team.
I think he could be, but I do think Sills is right that.
Dude, Staley and what's his name are on the 2 best defenses in football. They're the 2 best corners. Yeah. It's okay. Listen, Mitchell's going to get his being on first or second team. Guy, he gets an incentive for that too. By the way, you see what John missed out on, the off defensive lineman? What's his name? Cam, what's his name for the Saints? He got credited with a sack. He made a $700,000 bonus.
You missed what John was saying, though. You're right that most players aren't on max contracts, but the Eagles offense specifically, like A.J. Brown doesn't have an incentive-laden contract. He makes $32 million.
You understand, though, that if Jordan Davis had made Pro Bowl, he would have been on tier 2. He would have been on tier 2 on his 3-year contract extension, except he's now – they can dictate what they want to pay him.
Yep, I do. Here's Cal. It's crazy we drafted 2 all-pro DBs. Yeah, it is.
Same draft
is nuts. Doug Nussmeier went with Kellen. Yeah, he did.
Yep, he did.
He maybe should go and coach his kid up because he didn't have a great year.
No, he did not, man.
Just got here. Told you Hunt was going to be our best defensive end from the OG roster at the start of the season. Get my Kango ready. I don't even know what he means by that.
I don't either.
So
actually, that was one of my predictions.
Yeah, you had Jalen Sean having a big year.
Yeah.
I was in the Big Z Book of Revelations.
I like the Big Z Book of Revelations.
I got to pull that thing back out.
Bro. Well, listen, I'm not listen for my prediction of 11 wins to come, they have to lose. And I'm not rooting for them to lose.
They're not going to lose, I don't think, this game. I think you're right. I think Washington's already in Cancun mentally.
And get this. Why would they win when you're trying to help your draft status for the upcoming April draft, right?
We talked about that a little bit ago. I'd rather win, but
me too, man. You know why? Hey, I'm trying to set a culture in the building. I'm not trying to set a culture of being on a revolving door. You know what I'm saying, right?
All right, brother. Good show, man.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you very much, and we shall see you. And by the way, get that attitude back of like being a champ. Act like the champ. Act like the champ and not one of those guys that sit around going, well, if we play here, we play there, we play here.
Do you agree with Angelo that they're one and done?
No.
Okay, good. Because that would have been a shit take.
No. Well, I think if it's the Rams, it could go either way.
Khaled, you better remember this super chat, my friend.
I think if it's the winner of the Rams-Eagle game could win the Super Bowl. Do you agree with that?
For sure.
Okay.
I don't think the Rams are going in the Super Bowl.
Wait a minute. Well, if that's in the first round,
they're going to have 4 straight road games. They've 3 of their 5 losses this year were on the East Coast.
That's great for the Eagles to put that 37-year-old guy on the road.
Yep.
Okay.
They're not going. They needed to get the 1 seed, and they ended up not getting it or anywhere close to it. So they're not going to win at all, I don't think.
All right, bro. I appreciate it.
Eagles are coming out of the NFC, folks. Get ready. Gear up for February. All right.
I kept thinking what John McMullen said all year long. The Eagles don't play; they benefit. I couldn't believe what I was watching last night. I'm like, holy crap! By the way, Puka Nacua is the best receiver in pro football.
JSN's right there, but yeah, I agree.
Dude, his physical, he's so.
I do love that about his game. Very physical. All right, brother. Good stuff, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you, Big Z. Thank you so much, brother.
Make sure you read Cal there. All right.
All right, man. Sills, you're lucky our offense blows, or those Clippers would be coming out in February. I got you, bro. All right, my friend. I appreciate you guys very much. All right, let me pay some bills here. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Folks, our great relationship with those guys continue, and we appreciate them more than you know. And I'm here to tell you, if you've ever been injured on the job, these are the people that you want to go to because they're going to take your case and defend you and your family like no other. I've known these folks for over 25 years. They will take your case. Believe me. And by the way, they don't get paid unless you do. And you win. Simple as that. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/Big Sills or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
There's a reason the flappy, flaily, inflatable tube man dominated the dance-off.
Throw the money in the air. Throw the money in the air. Make it rain, count it up, put it there.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills here. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Thank you again. Again, folks, listen, no question about it. No question about it. I think this year's opening round of the NFL playoffs, we're going to look at the playoffs here in a minute as well. But there's no doubt, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this thing is wide open for anybody. See, I'm not, and I say this with great respect. Listen, you guys are, 90% of you are fans of the team. I'm not. I'm a fan of football. I like football. Okay? That's why my take and my views sometimes, they come off a little bit harder. And for the record, okay, I never said at any time that your football team wasn't in a conversation of winning a Super Bowl. I've never said that. Okay? Now, I do think that you have as many flaws as anybody else. Like, listen, here. So everyone now is being many people, in my opinion, you guys become prisoner of the moment. You take a look at the Rams last night. Now, I saw somebody say something. Now, you see this here? That is completely irrelevant when you play an opening round game. That's an advantage. That's an advantage for both sides. They know you. Hey, Forrest, you're 4-0 against McVay. Are you trying to have an understanding that you think that Nick Sirianni is a better play caller, head coach than Sean McVay? Where in your fucking right mind would you think that? Look at your offense. It's a joke. McVay is one of the best play callers in the league. How in the world, when you have the 25th ranked offense in pro football, where are you right now? By the way, here's the Eagles by the numbers and the trends. So this year, the Eagles defense, and I wrote this down here also. The new trends. Do they tell the story of the 2025 Eagles? And I wrote, okay, do they tell the story? I think there's two stories here. Your defense, the 13th best defense heading into the final weekend, with a shot potentially at getting into the top 10. I thought you'd be 15th. Between 15 and 20, you're closer to 10. It's a great job by Vic. You're 9th in pass defense, which is exceptional. You were 2nd a year ago. Rushing, you've been suspect the entire year. You're 20th. You're in the bottom third of the league in run defense. Here's a number that's sensational why you win. You're great in the red zone and scoring defense. This is why your defense is exceptional right now. You don't give points up, and you're great in scoring defense. Can't score TDs on that defense. You're 16th in third down defense. You're in the middle of the league. That number was 26th. You've improved. I don't think these numbers on the defensive side are indicative of who you are since you've added Jalen Phillips. I think you're getting better. Your pass rush is improving. Your volume of pressure is improving. I really don't think that, again, those numbers will be indicative of how well you're playing on that side of the ball going into the playoffs. If you're Vic Fangio on the defensive side of the football, you feel awful good about yourself going in, especially when you have red zone defense to playing the way it is. That's as good as it gets. Very encouraging on that side of the football. Very encouraging. On offense, you're who you are. You're not very good. Of all the offenses in the NFL, let me double check that. Let's see where you rank an offense of all the teams right now that are in the playoff hunt. Let's see. Rams are number 2. Bears are number 3. Patriots are 4. Bills are 5. 49ers are 7. Seahawks are 8th. Broncos are 9th. Packers are 10th. Chargers are 12th. Jags are 14th. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who else here am I missing? Texans are 19th. Buccaneers are 22nd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The Eagles are 24th. And the Steelers are 26th. The Steelers have the worst offense of any of the 14 teams that will be in the playoffs. The Eagles have the second worst offense of all the playoff teams heading into the playoffs. You got the second worst offense. And yet you're optimistic. Okay? I mean, you've not improved from week 1 to week 18 on offense. You've not improved in any dynamic anywhere. Here, offensively, you're 26th in third down. You're 20th in scoring. You're 24th in passing. And you're 18th in rushing offense. Couple ticks here, but at the end of the day, hey, by the way, what do you mean stop it? It's reality. Your offense is the second worst offense of any football team of the 14 playoff teams right now. That's what you've been all year. Okay? Your offense is the second worst offense heading into the playoffs. Okay? Second worst. Protecting the ball is what keeps it from collapsing. Correct. Agreed. I thought the last half y'all played on offense was an improvement. 0 passes completed. And what? Once again, you see this guy? He doesn't understand that's what your makeup is. This is who you are. This is how you build game plans. You build game plans based off of what teams have done and what teams have done all year. This is how your identity is. By the way, your offensive numbers dictate your inconsistencies in football. They don't lie in who you are. You're inconsistent. You don't play 4 quarters of football, and that's what those numbers dictate. They don't lie. That's exactly who the fuck you are. You see a guy like this, he denies it because that's what you are and who you are. I mean, again, that guy has no eye for football. Sills, most playoff games are close anyway. That's true. That's true. I agree with this take. Most playoff games are close anyway, and offense is abysmal. But wouldn't you agree that the defense could carry the playoffs I think what you have with your here, look. I'll give you exactly how I look at all the playoff teams. By the way, I told you I'm not a fan of the Eagles. So you're going to get an unbiased opinion compared to some shit like this. You're going to get an unbiased opinion instead of a knee dragger that hangs around Howie's office with his mouth open like a baby chip. How you doing, me? Like a baby chick. Okay, I don't do that. So here, let's see here. Here's the playoff teams. Broncos. Bo Nix. Do you have enough offense to win in the playoffs? You surely have the defense. The Denver Broncos have a great defense. And if you're telling me about your defense, that team beat you. I know you guys dismissed the teams that beat you, but the Broncos beat you. And they're pretty decent, especially on that side of the ball. My question will be, do they have enough offense to be able to move the sticks? The Patriots. I don't know, man. I'll tell you this about the Patriots. Me? I'm not sold one bit on them. I think they're a product of their schedule. All right? I think they're a product of it. And I want to see them in games. I mean, I don't know who they are. This Jaguar team, in my opinion, may be the best team in the AFC. They're good on defense. Here, let me take a look at that. Offensively, they're 14th. Can they run the ball? Jags are 14th in passing. They're 20th in rushing. It's not a great offense. Let's see what they are in scoring. They're 10th. And they're 10th in red zone. I don't think their offense is consistent enough. Where they're good is on defense. That's where they're good. This Texans team, you know, it's funny. Everyone looks at the Texans. You know what they say? Well, Texans here, man. They're not very good. It's not a good football team. Well, let's take a look at that. And people don't believe in this Texans team, okay? Let's see where they are. Texans. Let's take a look at them defensively. Texans defensively. They're number one in the NFL in defense. And by the way, their defense had a better year than your team did a year ago on defense. You guys were calling that a historic defense? Well, they're beating you right now heading into the final week. They're giving up 270 yards a game. Okay? It's a razor thin, but they're playing as good as you did a year ago. Okay? As good as you a year ago. They are number 4 in pass defense. And they are number 4 in rushing defense. They're number 1 in scoring defense. They are number 15 in red zone. They're 4th in third down. It's a great unit. Let's take a look at that with C.J. Stroud. I know Stroud missed a couple games this year. This Texas team is well coached, too. Offense. 18th total. They're kind of in the same boat you are. 16th in passing. Well, they got better numbers than the Eagles. Rushing. Not good. 24th. That'll be their Achilles. Scoring, 10th. Red zone offense, 30th. Their offense is going to be a liability in the playoffs. They're going to have to run the football. They're going to that'll be their undoing. Is their offense. This Charger team, not a lot of people are giving this Charger team any kind of kudos. And I think that's a mistake. I think they're pretty good. Here's the Chargers offensively. Chargers are 11th in total. This is without both tackles. They're 15th in passing. They're 12th in rushing. They're 17th in scoring. '27th in red zone. They're 3rd and 3rd down. They stay on the field. They can't score in the red zone. That'll be a problem for them. They're exceptional on defense. The Bills. I think the Bills are limited. Josh Allen or nothing. Let me go over to the NFC. Oh, by the way, Steelers or Ravens? The only thing I would be concerned about with the Ravens is Derrick Henry. And with the Steelers, they get DK back. Their defense is not very good. So I don't really think much with those two teams. But Derrick Henry can get hot. And by the way, the Eagles can't stop the run. Now, again, that would be in the Super Bowl kind of setting, but Derrick Henry can run teams over. So here's the NFC. Seahawks. You guys keep looking at the Seahawks and saying the Seahawks are nothing. And you don't think they're anything. So here's them in offense. Seattle's 8th in offense. They're 8th in passing. They're 15th in rushing. They're 2nd in scoring. They're 19th in red zone. And on 3rd down, they're 15th. Let me take a look at that defense of Seattle's. Seattle's had a great year. Great year. So here's Seattle defensively. They're 6th overall. They're 11th in pass. They're 3rd in rush defense. They're 2nd in scoring defense. They're 7th in red zone. They're number 1 in 3rd down, which means teams can't drive the ball on them. So get this. How do you feel about the number 1 3rd down team versus one of the worst 3rd down teams in the league in Philly? You think you had 3 and outs versus a team like Buffalo? Buffalo was 30th against the run. Their defense is not very good. And Seattle's number 1 in 3rd down defense. They're the kings of making you go 3 and out versus a team that can't stay on the field in 4 or 5 drives in the second half. You had 3 and outs. That's not a good matchup. I mean, that's not a healthy matchup, I don't think. So Seattle's a legit football team. Let's take a look at the Bears. Now, Seattle's is red zone offense. And I would say this about Darnold, too. Darnold turning the ball over. Okay? Let's see. Bears. Let's take a look at the Bears defense first. By the way, the Bears, you were not able to take advantage of the Bears defense. Get this. Xander made a great point, maybe the point of the year. Your offense has not been able to take advantage of shitty defenses the entire year. Bears have the 28th ranked defense. That's not really changed since you played them. And they killed you. Pass defense. Chicago's 21st. You were not able to take advantage of this at all on offense. That shows you, get this, every game that you go into with a bad defense on the other side, you've never been able to take advantage of them at all this year whatsoever. That's why when you go like this about San Francisco, they don't have anybody on defense. Well, where the fuck have you taken advantage of anybody on defense? You couldn't even take advantage of the Buffalo Bills running the football, and they're 30th. Here. I mean, they're not really good at any metric. Scoring defense, Bears. 22nd. These numbers have not changed, and trends have not. 18th in red zone. Third down. Bears are 19th. You couldn't take advantage of that defense, but yet now all of a sudden, you guys think you're going to take advantage of a bad defense. It's mind-numbing how you look at shit like that. Based off of what? Here's the offense now. Let me take a look at the Bears' offense. Like, based off of what where you've taken advantage of a good team that's shitty defense? Let's see here. Bears is third in total D. Oh, Bears are third in total offense. Excuse me. The Bears are 10th in passing. Wow, that number's come up. The Bears are third in rushing. The Bears are 10th in scoring. The Bears are 15th in red zone. And in third down, the Bears are 6th. That's a pretty good offense. Their problems obviously are going to be, they got to be in shootouts. So if it's a low-scoring game, that doesn't favor them. And they're not going to be in low-scoring games. They got to be in high-scoring games. That's what makes that game that they played against you. Guess what they did? They kept their defense off the field by running the ball and running you over. That's how they were able to beat you as significantly as they did. So here, 49ers. I haven't looked at them in a while. Let's put a trend chart together with them. Let's take a look at offense first. 49ers offense, 7th overall with two quarterbacks. 4th in passing with 2 quarterbacks. Wow. Rushing, they're 22nd. Not great. Scoring, they're 7th. Red zone, they're 2nd. They're number 1 in third down offense. Now, those are great numbers. Those are great trends. Let's see what Robert Saleh has done. Defensively. 49ers. 19th. Pass. 25th. They're 6th in rush defense. Got to throw the ball to beat them. Something the Eagles can't do. Scoring defense, they're 12th. And in red zone defense, they're in the middle of the league. They're 15th. That's a good football team. That's a good football team. It is. Okay, that's a pretty good team. I'm impressed with that. They've really had a great year with losing Fred Warner and also with Nick Bosa being out. Let's go down here to another one. Let's take a look at the Rams. I can't believe how many glazed donut Eagle fans are looking at the Rams and prisoners of the moment like you always are. Especially this guy here. This guy here right here is, get this, without a doubt, this guy's the biggest fucking glazed donut in here. Let's see here. So let's take a look at the Rams. Start with defense. Prisoner of the moment. You're the king of it, Emrayes. Defense, Rams. 17th. Rams are in pass defense. Rams and pass defense. They're 17th. By the way, let me ask you something. Okay, wait. Let me watch this. Steele's rattling off stats. Okay, so last year, when you ended up the number one overall defense, and you ended up the number one overall defense and pass defense, and you were number 4 in rush defense, those were stats too? Or was that reality? Brian, was that reality or were those stats? Let's keep it fair here. So last year, when you were at the top of all these, were those just numbers too? Or was that reality? Okay? Was that reality? I mean, right? I mean, I guess those weren't real. So Eli Manning is the 11th all-time in passing yards and TDs with 2 rings. He's a Hall of Famer. If Jalen sniffs, he'll never call him a scrub again. I'm sorry? He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. If Jalen sniffs that, Jalen will never come near 57. He'll never be in the 50s in passing yards. He's already 6 years in the league. And I'm not even sure he's at 30 yet, is he? Let's see here. Okay. Sills, why aren't we seeing more of the Goddard down there in goal line plays when the Eagles need critical first downs? Well, Jalen Hurts is not very good at short intermediate passes. They don't have a screen game. The guy's never had a screen game in his entire career. When he was at Oklahoma, when he was at Alabama, when he's been in Philly, he doesn't throw that pass well. I don't let knee draggers on my program. That's why. Yeah. I mean, the reason that you don't see a lot of those intermediate passes and checkdowns is because you don't really have a guy that is good at that. The offense is not passing the eyeball test. I hope I'm wrong. I still think the Eagles are one and done. I think it depends on if it's the Rams. If it's the Rams, that's going to be a coin toss game. By the way, you know what's funny? So what you have is you have people go like this. Well, the Rams aren't that good based off of that game last night. Now, that wasn't a good performance. But I'm pretty confident. And I will say that the last 3 weeks they have wobbled without Devontae Adams. I will. Who? Never heard of him. Elite quarterback can throw screen passes. Who said you had an elite quarterback? Who said you had an elite QB? He's a good player. There's no doubt about it. He's a good player. I have no problem with that. Sills, Jalen Hurts is a part of the team. I never said he would win Super Bowls with Tanner McKee, right? I never said he would win the Super Bowl with Tanner McKee. Yeah, well, help me out on that one. Now, you all got a lot of talent. It's going to be interesting. I do. They completely have a lot of talent. Okay? You're the biggest knee dragger. Your knee pep for what team? I don't root for any team, douchebag. I want lambs. Stafford is running out of gasoline. Okay. Well, you about to get that. Just don't turn the ball over at this point. Yeah, rely on your defense, special teams, because your offense won't carry you. That's for damn sure. Here's the problem you have with your offense. Your offense can't throw you out of trouble. You get behind in a ball game, the best part of that whole game that you had against Buffalo, you had to lead. Because if you had to do any of that shit in the second half, not winning that ball game. Well, Purdy came into, wait a minute, let me see something here. What was the last game that Brock Purdy came into Lincoln Financial? Let me see what he did. Well, I forget that. 49ers, Brock Purdy versus Eagles at the Link. What was his last game? Let's see. Brock Purdy's last game at the Link, 42-19. He was 19 of 27 for 314 yards and 4 touchdowns and no picks with a 148 passer rating. I don't know. I don't know. That's pretty good. We had Desai in the pencil at DC. Okay. And now you got Kevin Patullo on offense. Sean Desai was 10-1 when you fired him. Beginning of the collapse. That was a game. They wore all black. Eagles did? Was that right? Was that game they did that? They were all black? So apparently, Sills thinks if you take Jalen Hurts off the team and put McKee, whoever said that? You got the wrong show, bro. That's that shit show, WIP. I never said that. Who fucking said that? I never said bench the guy. I never said put Tanner McKee in. Where did you hear that? Apparently, where the hell did you hear me say that? I have never in my life said to put Tanner McKee in and bench Hertz. You got me wrong, bro. You're making shit up. I never said that. Jalen Hurts, one, has no trade. You're not benching that guy. I mean, I've never said that Tanner McKee would win a Super Bowl in Philadelphia if you put him in there. I mean, gotta love people sometimes putting bullshit in here. That was when the Niners broke us, 23. Purdy is the defense. I want to see that. Sign me up. Last time he was at the Link, he beat the shit out of you. We played 3 games in 10 days. 49ers off 10 days of rest. Is that how many games you guys have played? Dude, one thing I'll give the NFL shit for, too, to sit there and, like, not give you guys back-to-back home games, I don't know how that's not played a toll on guys. I mean, I can't tell you, traveling and going on the road, you know what? Joe Krause is in here, and maybe he'll get an understanding why Big Sills, bro, when you travel as much as players travel, I told you this. All the leagues I played in, Canada, Arena, NFL, World League, all that shit, plus college, when you got to travel like that, man, I hate it. I hated flying across the country and laying in different beds and flying to different countries sometimes. I freaking hated that. That's right, Sue. It's draining. Different time zones, different schedules. Players hate to be taken off routines. So when you get a comfort zone where you don't have to, like, get this. Look at the advantage San Francisco has. If San Francisco, Sue, think of this for a second. If San Francisco gets home field, they don't have to leave their home until they lose. Like, if they played in the Super Bowl, it's in Santa Clara. They don't have to travel anywhere. They're home for the winter. If they win home field, they don't have to leave. They'll be there. Remember when the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl in Tampa? They had to go on the road. They were the wild card team. New Orleans won the division that year. The Bucs had to travel, and they had to go on the road to get that home game at Raymond James. So, I mean, if the 49ers win it, the 49ers, I mean, they're going to stay at home the whole winter, or they're going to stay until they lose. Right. Dude, traveling back and forth and back. I mean, I remember when I was in Tampa, we went like this once. We went from Tampa to Seattle. Then the following week, we flew home. Then we flew to LA. Then we flew home, had a home game. Then we flew to Boston. You're like this inside of a month. You're in a fucking coma. You're living out of a suitcase. And if you're hurt, God forbid, it's a pain in the ass. '49ers are light work. Bro, what? You have had no game this year that was light work. I get it. You got to love some of the Eagle fans. You guys are talking like you've killed teams. Where? Every game almost. Here, let's take a look at this here with the Eagles this year and what they've done. And let's take a look at how many one-score games that you've had this year. Let's take a look at this. One-score games. First game of the year, one-score game. Kansas City, one-score game. Rams, one-score game. Tampa Bay, one-score game. Denver, one-score game. New York, you got beat. That wasn't one. Minnesota, one-score game. New York, 2, that wasn't. Green Bay, one-score game. Detroit, one-score game. Dallas, one-score game. Chicago, one-score game. Chargers, one-score game. Raiders, not. Washington, not. Buffalo, 1. You've played 12 one-score football games this year out of the, 16 games you've played this year. Well, talk to me about blowing teams out. I mean, you've played 12 one-score football games. And that's because of your shitty offense. Don't make it sound like you're blowing fucking teams out. Based off of what? The entire season, you've played 12 one-score football games. Of your 16 games you've played so far, 12 have been one score. I mean, Oh, yo, easy work. Easy work where? You haven't had easy work all year. Except for a couple stiff teams. Right? Make it sound like that shit. Like, oh, we've beaten everybody up. You haven't beaten anybody up. Beating people up. Come on, man. Isn't that an advantage, though? We know how to play close games. Well, I'll ask you this then, Twiz. You play those close games like that, you have razor-thin margins. You turn the ball over, you lose. And by the way, I think one thing you're good at, and I will give you this. You close teams out. Like, you do know how to win ball. I mean, look. I'm going to give you this, Twiz. The blocked field goal by Davis, the blocked extra point by Carter tells me what? You play every single minute that you're out there on defense. You play 60 minutes of football. The more and more I watch your football team, the more and more I think the incompetence of the coaching on that side of the ball. Okay? Get Jalen to the playoffs, just like I'm getting off that. They play every snap. They do. Yes. The offense plays 30 snaps a game, though. Now, they play about 56. Let me see. Let me see what they did this year. That's a great question. I don't know that. What's the average snaps? Plays for the Eagles offense. I get these NFL PA numbers. You're averaging right now about 57 plays a game. A year ago, you were averaging 66 because of your running attack. And it's because of the 3 and outs where you're less on that. Stop it with the MJ comparisons. He might be Tony Kukoc. I'm not even sure what the fuck you're talking about, my friend. The offense gives effort, 30 of those 65, a 56. I think the coaches have absolutely been the worst thing on the planet this year for Jalen Hurts and your offense. I'm sorry, I disagree with a lot of people. I think when you tell a quarterback, hey, get this. Okay. So here's the example. You got a sprinter that's in the middle of a race. You got Usain Bolt, and he's in the middle of the 110. And what you do halfway through the race is you tell him to coast, hoping he's going to win to the finish line because you got such a great start. You're hoping he wins. He's so good, but your coach tells you to throttle it down and coast. Don't you think you have a chance to lose races like that? That's exactly what the Eagles are doing coaching-wise to your football team on offense. You're in a race. You get out of the race, great. You're running really hard. You're doing all the right things. You're winning the race. Then your coaches tell you to throttle it down, and there's always a chance a team can come from behind and beat you. That's not a philosophy. That's coaching like not to win, almost. That's like fear of putting a team away. Like I said, I just pointed it out. No one's brought that up. The Eagles have been in 12 one-score games this year. They're basically telling you, hey, you know what? Throttle it down. Throttle it down. Price Seals, we play slow on offense too. Try to maximize drives. It seems like we always have 3 to 5 drives, O-line, half at most. No pacing. I'll tell you what, I'd like to see them go up-tempo with Herz a lot more, man. I think he's really good at up-tempo. Seals and Mr. Laurie is okay with this bullshit? I don't know. Look, you're okay with this. Let's say they win Sunday. You're 26-8 in 2 years, coming off a Super Bowl win. And you're going to win 12 games, coming off a Super Bowl win. And you're going to get a hard schedule, and you won 12 ball games? I don't know. I'll tell you this. If you go 12-5, I picked you to go 11-6. If you go 12-5 with a hard schedule, that's as impressive of wins that you had a year. That's more impressive. You didn't have a first place schedule last year. The Cowboys did. Remember? I mean, in 23, you didn't win the division. I don't think you did. Did the Cowboys win in 23? Or I thought you guys, because of that meltdown, I thought the Cowboys won it. And the Cowboys won that because you didn't have a first-place schedule for the 24 season. I could have swore that the Cowboys, didn't the Cowboys win in 23? You guys may have won it. I don't remember. Maybe you did have a first-place schedule in 24 because I thought in 23 you didn't win the division. Did they win the division in 23 at 11 and you guys were 11 in Cowboys choked to San Francisco at home. Yeah, last year I knew you had a first place schedule. And this year you had a first place schedule. Wait, 23 though. Cowboys won the division in 23. You didn't win the division, so you didn't have a first place schedule in 24. This year you did. No, you didn't have a first place schedule because you didn't win the East. Yeah, no. Yeah, Cowboys won the 20 and 23. That's right. Cowboys got annihilated by Green Bay. Like, Love went nuts. Remember, Love went nuts at their building. And you guys didn't have a first place schedule in 24 because the Cowboys won in 23. This year you did have a first place, which makes it as impressive as the 14-3, I think. Okay. Maybe it was Green Bay had a great game then. Yeah, man, I thought they had. Of course I watched pro wrestling. I was a pro wrestler. Cowboys were undefeated all season at home until the Packers beat the piss out of them. Right. All right, guys. Battle Royale. We're going to work on that tomorrow. We appreciate each and every single one of you. I can't thank you guys enough for coming aboard with us here. And thank you guys again. I believe tomorrow is New Year's Eve. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to have New Year's resolutions for the playoffs. We're going to have New Year's resolutions for the playoffs for tomorrow. So we're going to have a little fun tomorrow. We'll try to get Battle Royale. You guys have been absolutely sensational. Thank you again. Big Z, Joe, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the jet setters and the high rollers, to the shot takers and the tastemakers. Welcome to the viewfinders, the thrill seekers, and the night owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.